Rosanth Publishing presents Ruined by Protection. A Forced Proximity, Second Chance, Mafia Romance. Written by Sherry Blake, published by Rosanth Publishing. Feretti Syndicate Series, Book 5. All rights reserved. Subscribe to our channel to not miss any new audiobooks. Enjoy.
When he touches me, I don't see a killer. I see salvation, isolation, gaslighting, punishment. I married a man who smirked while he broke me, who threatened to murder my parents. Now I'm running from his abuse to hide with my cousin, who recently married into the Feretti Mafia cosca. Ensconced in their fabulous mansion, I encounter a dangerous phantom, the only man who ever made me feel alive. For just one unforgettable night. Matteo Caruso. Dark eyes, skillful hands, expert mouth, ruthless killer. My husband will never let me go, but Matteo swears to guard me with his life and wreak vengeance for every single one of the battle scars decorating my body. His protection comes with a price I'm not sure I can pay, but when he touches me, I remember what it feels like to be worshipped instead of owned. He kills for duty, for loyalty, for family. But will he also kill for love? I'm starting to think some prices are worth paying. But have I escaped one violent monster only to be captured by the possessive obsession of another? Dedication. For my dad, a man who carried quiet strength in a world that tried to break him. You are gone, but you remain in every word I write, and in every story where justice finds its voice. This is for you. Your Sherry. Content warning. This book contains explicit sexual content, strong language, and scenes involving assault, violence, and emotional distress. Recommended for mature audiences only.
Chapter 1. Matteo. 3 years ago. I sip my scotch and wait for the Mexican guy to finish explaining why we should consider buying their cocaine instead of our current supply chain. The meeting's been dragging for an hour now, and he doesn't realize I made my decision 20 minutes in. The Feretti family doesn't change suppliers without damn good reason, especially not when the current arrangement has been profitable for both sides. So you see, Senor Caruso, our product is superior and our delivery method more secure. He slides a small sample bag across the table, hidden by his expensive leather portfolio. I don't touch it. I appreciate the offer, but we're satisfied with our current arrangement. His smile falters. Perhaps if you tried. No. I keep my voice low but firm. The Feretti family values loyalty. Our current partners have proven theirs. The man opens his mouth to argue, then thinks better of it when he sees my expression. Smart choice. Damiano sent me to Austin to handle this meeting precisely because I know how to say no without creating unnecessary enemies. We don't need Mexican cocaine, but we might need Mexican cooperation on other matters someday. I understand. He collects his portfolio and stands. Should your situation change, you'll be the first call we make. I lie smoothly, standing to shake his hand. After he leaves, I settle back into the leather booth, in no hurry to return to my suite. The Remington bar is quiet tonight, just how I like it. Exclusive enough that the clientele knows to mind their own business, dim enough that conversations remain private. Perfect for our kind of meeting. I loosen my tie while scanning the bar. That's when I notice her for the first time. She's not the bartender who served me earlier. This one moves with a quiet grace behind the bar, her honey blonde hair caught in the amber glow of the pendant lights. She prepares a drink with practiced precision, her slender fingers working efficiently. The bar's lighting casts golden highlights through her waves as she moves, making her seem almost luminous against the dark mahogany. She's beautiful in an understated way that doesn't demand attention, but deserves it anyway. I find myself watching her hands, delicate but confident as they mix drinks and handle glasses. There's something mesmerizing about the way she works, like she's performing a dance she's known all her life. No wasted movements. My phone vibrates against the table, Damiano's name flashing on the screen. I answer without taking my eyes off the bartender. It's done. I say, keeping my voice low. They got the message. No complications? Damiano asks, his voice crisp through the connection. None. They pushed. I declined. Professional. I take another sip of scotch, watching as she reaches for a bottle on a high shelf. Her blouse rides up slightly, revealing a strip of creamy skin at her waist. Good. We don't need new suppliers or new enemies, Damiano continues. But his voice fades into background noise as I focus on the bartender's ballet. She turns to serve a customer, and I get my first full view of her profile. Fuck. Her body is a perfect balance of curves and delicate lines. The way her shirt hugs her plush mounds makes my fingers itch to trace that same path. I'm certain she has the kind of ass that would fit perfectly in my hands, round and firm, begging to be grabbed. Matteo? Are you listening? Damiano's voice cuts through my imaginings. Yeah, of course. I force myself to concentrate. The Mexicans won't be a problem. Good. My eyes track her as she leans forward to hear a customer's order, her blouse dipping just enough to hint at what's underneath. I imagine how she'd look sprawled across my bed, her hair spread out on my pillows, those delicate hands gripping the sheets. She smiles at something a customer says. Her lips are full and naturally pink, the kind that would look perfect wrapped around my cock. I shift in my seat, adjusting myself discreetly. The meeting with the Colombians is still on for Friday, Damiano continues. I need you back by Thursday. I'll be there, I promise, watching as she shakes a cocktail, her body moving in a rhythm that makes me think of other, more primal shaking. I wonder if she'd be vocal in bed or the quiet type. Something tells me there's fire beneath that composed exterior. Don't get distracted, Damiano warns, somehow sensing my attention is divided. I almost laugh. If he could see what I'm looking at, he'd understand completely. Never on the job. When she bends to retrieve something from a lower shelf, I get a perfect view of her ass through the open pass-through, and my mind fills with images of taking her from behind, my hands gripping those hips, her back arching as I drive into her. Christ, I need to get a grip. Call me when you've reviewed the numbers, Damiano says. Will do. I end the call and pocket the phone, never once taking my eyes off her. My cock hardens at the thought of her legs wrapped around my waist. I drain my scotch and decide to order another. Not because I need the drink, but because I want to hear her voice, see if it matches the fantasy building in my head.
Hazel. I mix another overpriced cocktail for the balding businessman who's been eye-fucking me for the past hour. His wedding ring catches the light as he slides his credit card across the bar, flashing what he thinks is a charming smile. You're new here, aren't you? He asks, leaning forward to invade my space. His cologne, too much of it, stings my nostrils. Just started last week, I answer, keeping my voice professional as I run his card. I don't mention that I've been bartending for years. Men like him don't care about my experience, just my measurements. I return his card with a forced smile that never reaches my eyes. Enjoy your drink, sir. He lingers, clearly hoping for more conversation, but I'm already moving to the next customer. The dismissal stings his ego. I can tell by the way his smile hardens before he retreats. The Remington pays better than any bar I've worked before, but the dress code is brutal. Tight pants and heels that make my calves burn by the end of the night. Worth it for the tips, I remind myself. Worth it for the money I can send home. I glance at the clock. 2 more hours until I can kick off these torture devices and collapse into bed. This wasn't the plan. None of this was the plan. 3 years ago, I was supposed to be graduating college, not dropping out to support my family after Dad's accident, not working 3 jobs while Mom juggled medical bills that crippled us, not watching my siblings give up their own dreams because there simply wasn't enough money. I grab a bottle of top-shelf whiskey and pour a double for a man in a custom suit. He doesn't look up from his phone, just slides cash across the bar like I'm a vending machine. At least he doesn't leer. Small mercies. The bar at the Remington is different from the dive bars I've worked before. Quieter, more expensive, filled with men who think their wealth entitles them to whatever, and whoever, they want. The money is better, but the customers are worse in their own way. Their entitlement comes wrapped in designer suits instead of cheap cologne, but there's the same hunger in their eyes. I feel it now, someone watching me. The prickle of awareness crawls up my spine as I prepare a gin and tonic. I don't need to look up to know I'm being observed. After years of bartending, I've developed a sixth sense for it. When I finally glance over, I catch him, a dark-haired man in a booth, watching me over the rim of his glass. Unlike the others, he doesn't look away when caught. He holds my gaze, unashamed of his interest. Something about him makes my skin bloom with heat. Maybe it's the confidence in his posture or the intensity in his eyes. He's dangerous. I can tell from across the room. Not the obvious kind of dangerous like the drunk frat boys who get handsy, but the quiet kind that runs deeper. I look away first, intent on mixing a mojito. I focus on muddling mint leaves, trying to ignore the weight of his stare. The mojito customer leaves a decent tip, and I'm wiping down the bar when the doors swing open. A group of 6 men in expensive suits pours in, talking loudly about quarterly projections and market share. Corporate types who think they're masters of the universe. "Miss, we'll need a table," one calls out, barely glancing at me. I gesture toward the hostess. "Angela will seat you." The hostess leads them to a large round table near the bar. Great, just what I need. A corporate happy hour to manage alone. My co-bartender called in sick, leaving me to handle the entire bar section. "Looks like you're about to get busy," a deep voice says. I turn to find him, the man who'd been watching me, now seated at the bar. Up close, he's even more striking. A well-groomed beard frames a jaw that could cut glass. His eyes are warm brown, almost amber in the dim lighting. "Busy is good," I answer, setting a cocktail napkin in front of him. "What can I get you?" "Macallan 18, neat." His voice has a slight roughness to it, like expensive whiskey poured over gravel. As I reach for the bottle, I notice his hands, strong with long fingers, a subtle tan offsetting the crisp white cuff of his shirt. There's a small tattoo on his wrist, peeking out when his sleeve rides up. A cross, simple and black. I slide him the glass. He takes a sip, watching me over the rim. Matteo. It takes me a second to realize he's offering his name. "Hazel," I reply, tapping my name tag. "Hazel," he repeats like he's tasting it. "It suits you." Before I can respond, the corporate group descends on the bar, shouting for drinks. I hold up a finger to Matteo. Duty calls.
Chapter 2. Matteo. I watch her move behind the bar, all efficiency and grace despite those ridiculous heels they undoubtedly make her wear. Hazel. Her name fits her. Those eyes the color of amber whiskey, flecked with gold and green. She handles the surge of corporate assholes smoothly, never losing her composure even when 3 of them shout orders simultaneously. Her smile remains fixed in place, professional but distant. I sip my drink, savoring the burn as I observe her. My phone buzzes with a message from Damiano, details about Friday's meeting, but I silence it without looking away from her. Business can wait 5 minutes. Women have always been simple for me. Uncomplicated. A physical release. Nothing more. I learned early that attachment is a luxury I can't afford in my line of work. Emotions make you vulnerable. Vulnerability gets you killed. I've perfected the art of temporary companionship. Beautiful women in high-end hotel rooms, expensive dinners with dessert served in bed. Clear expectations established from the beginning. No false promises. No morning after awkwardness. No strings that could become nooses. They know what they're getting. I know what I'm giving. Everyone leaves satisfied. It's a system that works. Clean. Efficient. Safe. Hazel returns to my end of the bar after setting up the corporate boys with their first round. A light sheen of sweat glistens at her temple, and she discreetly shifts her weight, easing pressure off one foot. "Sorry about that," she says, tucking a strand of honey-blonde hair behind her ear. Corporate happy hours are the worst. They think ordering an old-fashioned makes them Don Draper. I smile despite myself. Let me guess. They also undertip and over-explain how to make their drinks? God, yes. Her eyes light up with genuine amusement. One of them just told me he likes his Manhattan bold but approachable. Sounds like he's describing his LinkedIn profile. Her laugh hits me, unguarded and real. You've got a good read on people, she says, wiping down the bar. What do you do, Matteo? Import-export, I answer automatically. The standard cover. Logistics management. Sounds fascinating, she says with just enough sarcasm to make me smile again. It has its moments. I take another sip of whiskey. Better than wrangling bold but approachable Manhattan guys. Her smile fades slightly as one of the suits approaches the bar, waving his empty glass like a flag. Duty calls again. Enjoy your whiskey.
Hazel. I head back to the suits at the far end of the bar, feeling Matteo's eyes on me as I walk away. His gaze doesn't make my skin crawl like most men do. It feels different, intense, but not invasive. Another round for the gentlemen, I announce, plastering on my professional smile. They barely acknowledge me as they debate quarterly projections and market fluctuations. As I prepare their drinks, I find my glance flicking back at Matteo. He sits with casual confidence, one hand wrapped around his whiskey glass, the other resting on the polished bar. His expensive suit fits him perfectly, but unlike these corporate types, he wears it like it's an extension of himself rather than a costume. Import-export. Sure, with those watchful eyes and that careful way of studying everyone in the room, he's either military, law enforcement, or something I shouldn't know about. But there's no wedding ring, and he hasn't tried to get handsy or make sleazy comments, which puts him ahead of 90% of the men who sit at my bar. I deliver the fresh round of drinks to the suits, then return to find Matteo's glass nearly empty. Another? I ask, already reaching for the Macallan. He nods, sliding his glass toward me. What time do you finish tonight? The question makes me pause mid-pour. I've heard this one before, usually followed by unwanted propositions and having to explain that, no, I don't want to grab a drink after serving them all night. I don't date customers, I say firmly. Bar policy. His lips curve into a slight smile, eyes crinkling at the corners. I didn't ask if you date customers. Heat crawls up my neck. Right. I study him, trying to read his intentions. I'm off at 1, I finally say. I've barely set Matteo's refilled glass down when movement at the far end of the bar catches my eye. A man in a rumpled suit waves his empty glass in the air like he's hailing a taxi. Just a minute, I tell Matteo, already moving away. The man's face is flushed from too much alcohol, his tie loosened and crooked. I recognize him. He's been here for hours with a group of coworkers who left an hour ago. He stayed behind, getting progressively drunker and louder. What can I get you? I ask, maintaining my professional smile. Another scotch, sweetheart. His words slur together. And maybe your number. Just the scotch, I say firmly. And I think this should be your last one. His expression darkens. Don't tell me when I've had enough. I pour him a half measure, sliding it across the bar. Water's on the house. I didn't ask for water. He pushes it back, sloshing liquid onto the polished wood. And I didn't ask for half a drink either. Sir, I'm required to serve responsibly. He leans forward, invading my space. The stench of alcohol and stale cologne makes my stomach turn. Listen, honey, I've spent a lot of money here tonight. The least you could do is be nice. I am being nice, I say, keeping my voice even. I'm making sure you get home safely. His hand shoots out, grabbing my wrist. Don't patronize me, bitch. My heart pounds against my ribs. I've dealt with aggressive drunks before, but something about this guy sets off alarm bells. His grip tightens, fingers digging into my skin. Let go, I say, voice low but firm. Now. Or what? He sneers. Or I'll break every finger on that hand. Matteo's voice cuts through the tension like a blade. I didn't even notice him approach. He stands beside the drunk man, looking relaxed except for his eyes, cold and focused, like a predator assessing prey. The drunk turns, sizing Matteo up. Mind your own business, asshole. Matteo doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. I'm making it my business. There is a hint in his tone, the quiet certainty of a man who doesn't make empty threats, that makes the drunk hesitate. His grip on my wrist loosens. The lady asked you to let go, Matteo continues. I suggest you do it. Now. The man releases me, but his alcohol-fueled bravado hasn't completely deserted him. Whatever, drinks are overpriced anyway. He stands unsteadily, reaching for his wallet. He throws some bills on the bar. Keep the change, sweetheart. You're not worth the trouble. As he turns to leave, he bumps into Matteo, who doesn't move an inch. For a tense moment, they lock eyes. The drunk seems to finally register that Matteo's gaze holds an edge that cuts through his alcohol haze and triggers a survival instinct. He mutters something under his breath and staggers toward the exit. I rub my wrist where the drunk's fingers left red marks. The skin stings, but it's my pride that hurts more. I've handled difficult customers before, but this one caught me off guard. Thank you, I say to Matteo, who's returned to his seat at the bar. You didn't have to step in, but I appreciate it. He takes a slow sip of his whiskey, those dark eyes watching me over the rim of his glass. Does that happen often? He asks. Often enough, I shrug. Part of the job. Shouldn't be. I grab a clean cloth and wipe down the bar where the drunk spilled his drink. Welcome to the service industry. Some men think buying drinks entitles them to the poorer as well as the poor. I busy myself organizing bottles, trying to ignore the feeling of being merchandise. When I glance back, he's checking his watch, an understated but clearly expensive timepiece that catches the light as he moves. I should get going, he says, finishing his whiskey in one smooth swallow. I'll get your check. I print his tab and slide it across the bar. He barely glances at it before pulling out a sleek leather wallet and placing several bills on top, way more than necessary. Keep the change, he says, standing up. This is too much. I push some of the money back toward him. He gently slides it back. You earned it. Dealing with idiots like that guy deserves hazard pay. Our fingers brush, and the brief contact sends a ripple of warmth up my arm. I pull my hand away quickly, suddenly conscious of how close we are, leaning toward each other across the bar top. Thank you, I say, tucking the bills into my apron pocket, for the tip and the rescue. Maybe I'll see you around, Hazel. The way he says my name makes it sound like something precious. He holds my gaze for a moment longer, then turns and walks away. I watch him leave, his confident stride carrying him through the thinning crowd and out the door. What the hell was that? I shake my head, trying to clear it. I slice lime with more force than necessary, annoyed at myself. This is ridiculous. I don't even know the man. He's clearly wealthy, probably used to getting whatever and whoever he wants. The definition of a one-night stand guy. And I am definitely not a one-night stand girl. I'm a relationship person. Always have been. The few times I tried casual, it ended with me getting hurt, while the guy moved on without a backward glance. Besides, I don't have time for relationships, let alone meaningless hookups. Between my shifts here, my morning job at the cafe, and sending money home to help with Dad's medical bills, my life is already overbooked. The last customer leaves at midnight, giving me time to clean up before my shift ends. I wipe down the bar for the 1,000th time, enjoying the quiet after hours of noise and chaos. My feet throb, and I can't wait to kick my heels off. Usually I'm not closing alone, but today is one of those days that I have to do the job for 2 people. I'm unloading the garnish tray when a voice breaks the silence. Need a hand with that. I nearly drop the container of olives. Matteo leans against the bar, watching me. Bar's closed. I say, wiping like a maniac, not looking at him. I don't want to drink. I finally turn up my eyes to meet his gaze. Then what do you want? His smile is slow and deliberate. To make sure you get home safely after your shift. I can take care of myself. I witnessed that earlier, he says, nodding toward where the drunk grabbed me. Very impressive. I roll my eyes at his teasing. I had it under control. Of course you did. His voice holds a hint of laughter. But it's late, and I'm offering a ride. I stack clean glasses, buying time while my mind races. Is this your standard approach? Rescue the damsel, then invite her to your room? Who said anything about my room? His eyebrow arches, though the offer is open if you're interested. Heat rushes to my face. I'm not going to your hotel room. Then let me take you home. He leans forward, resting his forearms on the bar. It's after midnight. You're tired. I should say no. The smart answer is definitely no. But the thought of waiting for a bus filled with more aggressive drunks than walking 4 blocks to my apartment at this hour. I take the bus, I say instead of a direct refusal. All the more reason to accept a ride. His offer is tempting, more than it should be. Part of me wants to see what would happen if I said yes to more than just a ride. The way he looks at me makes my skin tingle. It's like he can see right through me. What would it be like to give in? Just once? The thought surprises me. I'm not impulsive. But tonight, with my wrist still tender from that drunk's grip and exhaustion weighing on me, the idea of letting someone else take control, even just for a ride home, is ridiculously appealing. Just a ride home? I ask, hating how my voice wavers slightly. Just a ride. His eyes hold mine. Unless you decide otherwise. I finish wiping down the bar, buying time while I debate with myself. The responsible part of me is screaming that this is a bad idea. The lonely, tired part is winning. Fine, I finally say. A ride would be nice. I need to grab my things from the back first. I need to get my keys from my room anyway. He stands. Meet you outside in 15? Make it 20, I say. I still need to cash out. He nods and heads for the door, leaving me standing there with a rag in my hand and my heart beating too fast. I finish closing the bar on autopilot, counting the register and preparing the deposit bag. All the while, a battle rages in my head. Say goodnight at the curb, don't invite him up, don't give him your number. I change out of the heels into my sneakers in the employee bathroom. I stare into the mirror, trying to talk some sense into myself. It's just a ride home. I tell my reflection, that's all. Part of me wants him to persuade me, to give me an excuse to make a decision I can blame on something other than my own flaring desires. I grab my bag and jacket and head out the employee exit to the parking lot, which opens to a dimly lit side lot for staff to park. Should I wait here or go around to the front? I decide to stay put. The parking lot is quiet except for distant traffic and the hum of the hotel's massive air conditioning units. My breath forms small clouds in the chilly air as I shift from foot to foot, trying to keep warm. The metallic jingle of keys draws my attention to a figure walking through the lot. I turn to greet Matteo, but the silhouette is wrong. Shorter, broader, with an unsteady gait. A businessman in a rumpled suit staggers toward me. I recognize him from earlier, not the grabby drunk Matteo dealt with, but one of the corporate group who'd been throwing back martinis all evening. He must have left something in his car. I keep my eyes down, hoping he'll pass by without noticing me. No such luck. Well, hello there, sweetheart. His words slur together. Fancy meeting you out here. I nod politely but don't engage. Good night, sir. He changes direction, veering toward me. What's the rush? Shift's over, right? You don't have to call me sir anymore. He gets close enough that I catch the sour smell of alcohol seeping from his pores. I'm waiting for someone, I say firmly, taking a step back. I'm someone. He grins, showing too many teeth. Someone who's been watching that sweet ass all night. My stomach clenches. I've dealt with this type before, the ones who think service workers are part of what they're paying for. You need to back off. I make my voice hard, the way I've learned over years of customer service. He laughs like I told a joke. Come on, don't be like that. I'm a nice guy. I'll even pay for your time. His eyes drift down my body. Bet you make more on your back than mixing drinks anyway. Anger flashes hot through me. Leave me alone. I try to step around him, but he moves faster than I expect for someone so out of control. His hand shoots out, grabbing my waist and pulling me hard against him. Don't be a tease, he growls, his breath hot and sour in my face. You've been giving me eyes all night. I push against his chest. Let go of me. Now. His grip tightens, fingers digging into my side. Playing hard to get? I like that. Fear spikes through me as I realize how alone we are in this parking lot. I writhe my body and try to knee him, but he has me pressed close so my leg can't find the maneuver. Oh, this is bad. My heart is pummeling at my chest wall, forcing itself up into my throat, making my gasps even harder. His fingers grind into my flesh and grope their way down to my ass, cupping part of one cheek into his fist as his moist face dips into my neck. His palms start their grabby path back up my body as his breath becomes hot and rasping against my skin. I open my mouth to scream, but vomit is sour on my tongue. What is it they say? Relax. Don't fight. Take your hands off her. A cold voice cuts through the night. Matteo stands a few feet away from us, his tall frame rigid with tension. I didn't hear him approach. He moved through the darkness like a shadow. The drunk turns, hands still gripping me. Mind your business, buddy. The lady and I are having a conversation. She's not interested in your conversation. Matteo's voice is eerily calm, but the iciness in his eyes makes my skin prickle. And she's with me. The drunk snorts. Doesn't look like it. Find your own peace. He doesn't get to finish. Matteo moves with startling speed, twisting the man's wrist until he screeches and his hold on me breaks. I stumble back as Matteo forces the drunk's arm behind his back, making him gasp for air. I won't repeat myself, Matteo says, his voice still conversational despite the violence in his actions. The lady is with me. You're going to apologize, then you're going to walk away. Understood? The drunk's face contorts with pain. Fuck you. Matteo applies more pressure and the man's knees buckle. Wrong answer. Try again. Okay. The businessman's voice rises in panic. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Not to me. Matteo nods toward me. To her. The drunk's eyes meet mine, fear replacing his previous lecherous confidence. I'm sorry, miss. I was out of line. Matteo releases him with a slight push. Now get out of here before I decide an apology isn't enough. The man stumbles away, clutching his wrist and muttering curses. Matteo watches him until he disappears around the corner of the building. When he turns back to me, his expression softens. Are you okay? I nod, my heart still racing. Yeah, thanks. Did he hurt you? I shake my head. Just grab me. I'm fine.
Chapter 3. Matteo. I watch her closely, not fully buying her assurance. The way her arms wrap around herself, how her eyes dart back to where that asshole disappeared. She's rattled, even if she won't admit it. You're sure? I press, stepping closer. I'm fine, really. She pushes a strand of honey blonde hair behind her ear. Occupational hazard of bartending. That thought makes something dark twist in my gut. I don't like the idea of men putting their hands on her, drunk or sober. Ready for that ride? I ask, deliberately changing the subject as I consider hunting down every man who's ever disrespected her. About that. She looks up at me with those hazel eyes that caught me from across the bar. What exactly did you mean by a ride? I can't help the smile that tugs at my lips. You think I was being metaphorical? I don't know what to think about you. Her voice carries a hint of wariness mixed with curiosity. Come on. I gesture toward the parking area. I'll show you. She follows me, keeping a careful distance that I respect. We round the corner to where I've parked, and her eyebrows shoot up. That's yours? She points at the gleaming Harley-Davidson Road King, its chrome catching the yellow glow of the parking lot lights. Rental, actually. Only thing Texans ride, apparently. Her laugh hits me like a shot of the finest whiskey, warm, intoxicating, and leaving me wanting more. It's genuine, not the polite chuckle she gives customers at the bar. Let me guess, she says, eyes dancing with amusement. You asked for something that screams American South, and they gave you this monster? Pretty much. I run my hand over the leather seat. Guy at the rental place looked at me like I was insane when I said I wanted something practical. Told me, and I quote, "Sir, this is Texas. We don't do practical, we do statement." She laughs again, and I find myself cataloging the sound, the way her eyes crinkle at the corners, how her entire face lights up. Her laugh fades too quickly, like someone cut the music. I watch her face change. The light in her eyes dims, and her smile drops away. She sways slightly on her feet, one hand reaching out to steady herself against a nearby car. Whoa, you okay? I move toward her, ready to catch her if she falls. I'm fine. She waves me off, but her voice lacks conviction. Her face has gone pale under the harsh parking lot lights. You don't look fine. I keep my voice gentle but firm. What's going on? She presses her lips together, clearly debating whether to tell me the truth. I wait her out. I'm good at waiting when it matters. It's nothing serious, she finally admits. I haven't eaten since breakfast. Got busy and skipped lunch, then straight to work. She gives me a weak smile. Low blood sugar makes me a little dizzy sometimes. I check my watch, almost 1 a.m. No wonder she's unsteady. That's an easy fix, I say. I could eat something too. Let's get you some food. Relief washes over her face, quickly followed by hesitation. There's a taco place about 5 blocks from here. They're open late. I shake my head. The hotel restaurant has better food. They'll still be serving. Hazel's eyes widen as she checks her phone. The kitchen at the hotel closes in less than 5 minutes. We'd never make it. Want to bet? I flash her a grin that makes her blink. I don't lose, especially when food is involved. Before she can protest, I reach for her hand. Her fingers are cool against my palm, delicate but not fragile. The contact sends a jolt through me that I wasn't expecting, like touching a live wire. Come on, I say, tugging her gently toward the hotel. We're going to make it. She hesitates for just a second. Then her fingers curl around mine. This is crazy, she says, but she's already moving with me. Sometimes crazy is exactly what you need. I pick up the pace, pulling her along, especially after the night you've had. We break into a jog and her laugh bubbles up, bright and genuine. The kitchen's fluorescent lights hit us like a spotlight after the dim parking lot. Sir, miss, you can't be in here. A young waiter in a crisp white uniform blocks our path, panic flashing across his face. The kitchen is closed for the night. We just need something quick, I say, keeping my voice casual while letting my eyes harden. Nothing complicated. I'm sorry, but it's against policy. I could lose my... I step forward, still holding Hazel's hand. What's your name? The waiter swallows hard. Peter, sir. I feel Hazel's palm flinch in mine as I stare Peter down. Her fingers tense against my skin, and I can sense her discomfort without even looking at her. But I don't release her hand. Not yet. Look, Peter, I say, keeping my voice low but insistent. I understand the restaurant is closed and you've got rules to follow. But here's what's going to happen. The lady and I are going to eat in the kitchen, and in about an hour you're going to come back and clean up, just like you were already planning to do. Peter's eyes dart between my face and the exit, weighing his options. I can read the calculation in his expression. The risk of saying no to someone like me versus the risk of breaking hotel protocol. No one else is going to come in while we're eating, I continue. You understand what I'm saying? Hazel's hand twitches again in mine, a silent protest that I register but don't acknowledge. Peter swallows hard. Yes, sir, he says finally, shoulders slumping in defeat. I understand. Good man. I reach into my pocket with my free hand and pull out a folded $100 bill, pressing it into his palm. For your trouble. His eyes widen at the bill and I watch his resistance crumble completely. There's some food, but I can't cook and the chef's gone by now, he says, voice steadier now. I'll handle it myself. Thank you, Peter. He nods, backing away toward the door. I'll come back in an hour, sir. Before we continue into the story, do us a favor. Like this video and hit the subscribe button, because it helps very much with YouTube's algorithm. If you want the audiobooks ads-free, Visit our website and select our bundles to save more. Thank you again. Now, back to our story.
Hazel. I stare at Peter's retreating back, my mouth hanging open in stunned shock. The kitchen door swings shut behind him with a soft whoosh, leaving me alone with Matteo in the gleaming industrial kitchen. What just happened? I whisper, finally pulling my hand from his. The warmth of his palm lingers on my skin. Matteo turns to me, his expression completely normal, as if intimidating hotel staff and commandeering professional kitchens is something he does every Tuesday night. We got dinner, he says simply, his dark eyes watching me. I gesture wildly at the door, made that poor guy give us the kitchen. He could lose his job. He won't, Matteo says with absolute certainty. And he's $100 richer. I shake my head, trying to process what I just witnessed. The way Peter's face changed when Matteo stepped closer, from annoyed to afraid in seconds. The way Matteo's voice dropped, becoming something dangerous and compelling. It should make me want to run. It should set off every alarm bell in my head. Instead, heat pools low in my belly, and I feel a shameful thrill run through me. There was something magnetic about watching him take control, bending the world to his will with nothing but his presence and a few quiet words. You okay? Matteo asks, his head tilting slightly as he studies my face. I'm not sure, I answer honestly. I think I'm still processing how you just did that. His lips quirk up at one corner. Did what? Made him do exactly what you wanted. I cross my arms over my chest. It was like watching someone flip a switch. 1 minute he was saying no, the next he caved and couldn't get away fast enough. People generally do what I ask, Matteo says, matter of fact rather than boastful. Is that so? I raise an eyebrow, trying to regain my composure. And what if I decide I don't want to do what you ask? A glint flashes in his eyes, amusement, challenge, and something darker I can't quite name. Then you don't, he says simply. I'm not in the business of making women do things they don't want to do, Hazel. The way he says my name, like he's rolling it delectably across his tongue, sends another inappropriate shiver down my spine. Now, he continues, we need to find something to eat before you pass out on me. He turns away, scanning the kitchen with the confidence of someone who belongs there. I follow him, still slightly dazed. You're completely crazy, I tell him, watching as he opens a massive stainless steel refrigerator. Breaking into a hotel kitchen? Who does that? I prefer to think of it as practical, he says without looking back at me. You needed food. The food was here. I solved the problem. By terrifying a waiter and bribing him? By compensating him for his flexibility. Matteo corrects, his voice amused. And I didn't terrify him. I just persuaded him. I snort. Is that what you call it? What would you call it? He glances over his shoulder, his expression genuinely curious. I'd call it, I search for the right word, intimidation with style. He laughs, a rich sound that echoes off the stainless steel surfaces. I'll take that as a compliment. Matteo peers into the massive walk-in refrigerator, his broad shoulders blocking my view. Well, he says, satisfaction coloring his voice. Look what we have here. He steps back, revealing the contents of the fridge. My eyes widen as I spot what he's looking at. A tray of fresh lobster tails and what looks like a container of some kind of dipping sauce. Lobster? I can't keep the surprise from my voice. I was thinking more along the lines of a sandwich. We're in the Remington Hotel, Hazel. Matteo's voice carries a hint of amusement as he pulls out the tray. You don't eat sandwiches at the Remington. I eat sandwiches everywhere, I counter, but my eyes are fixed on the lobster tails, their massive, bright orange shells glistening under the lights. Those look expensive. They are. He sets the tray on the stainless steel prep table and moves with surprising confidence through the kitchen, gathering a few small plates and utensils. and probably destined for some corporate dinner tomorrow. I think we deserve them more. I watch him, fascinated by his ease in this space. He moves like he owns it, opening drawers and cabinets without hesitation. How do you know your way around a professional kitchen so well? I ask. I appreciate good food. He glances up at me, a spark in his dark eyes, and I pay attention to details. He lifts the tray and nods toward a door at the back of the kitchen. The larder should be quieter. I follow him, curious despite myself. The larder is a small room with a large wooden table in the center, surrounded by shelves stocked with dry goods and spices. It smells of herbs and flour. Matteo sets the tray on the table and suddenly turns to me. In one smooth motion, he lifts me by the waist and sits me on the edge of the table. I gasp, my hands automatically gripping his shoulders for balance. "What are you doing?" I manage to ask, though my voice comes out huskier than I intended. He stands between my knees, his hands still at my waist, making sure you don't fall over from hunger. His face is inches from mine, and I can smell his cologne, which makes me want to lean closer. His eyes drop to my lips, and heat rushes through me so fast I go dizzy. Or maybe that's the hunger. I swallow hard, trying to regain my composure. I think we need crackers for the claws. His lips curve into a knowing smile, but he doesn't call me out on my obvious deflection. These are just tails, no claws. Oh, I feel my cheeks warm. Right. But we do need to get them out of the shell. He steps back, giving me space to breathe, and picks up one of the lobster tails. I expect him to reach for a knife or some tool, but instead he grips the shell with both hands and cracks it open with a single powerful twist. The sound makes me jump slightly, but I'm mesmerized by the sight of his strong hands breaking through the hard shell with such ease. "Show off," I murmur, but I can't look away. He separates the meat from the shell like scooping a woman's flesh from a silk gown, then tears off a bite-sized piece. Instead of setting it on a plate, he holds it up to my lips. "Open," he says softly. My heart hammers against my ribs. This feels more intimate than a kiss would be. Him feeding me with his bare hands, watching my mouth with such intensity. I should refuse. I should insist on using the plates and forks he gathered. Instead, I lock eyes with him and slowly part my lips. He places the lobster meat on my tongue, his fingertips barely brushing my bottom lip. The contact sends electricity shooting through me. I close my mouth, tasting the sweet, rich meat along with the ghost of his touch. "Good?" he asks, his voice lower than before. I nod, not trusting myself to speak. The lobster practically melts in my mouth, buttery and decadent. Matteo watches me chew and swallow, his eyes never leaving my face. There's something primal in his gaze, something that makes me feel both vulnerable and powerful at once. "More?" he asks. When I nod again, he prepares another piece. This time, when he feeds me, I close my eyes, savoring both the flavor and the sensation of his fingers against my lips. I open my eyes to find him watching me with an intensity that steals my breath. No one has ever looked at me like this, like I'm precious and wild all at once.
Chapter 4. Matteo. Watching Hazel eat from my fingers is a special kind of torture. Her eyes flutter closed as she takes each piece of lobster, those full pink lips closing around the morsel, and my fingertips. My cock stiffens against my zipper with each small brush of her mouth. She sits perched on the table, honey waves cascading over her shoulders, catching the light from the overhead fixture. The harsh kitchen lighting should make her look washed out, but instead it gives her skin a golden glow. Her cheeks have a flush that wasn't there before, hunger or arousal, I'm not sure which. Maybe both. I break off another piece of lobster, larger this time. "Open," I command. Her eyes meet mine, a flash of defiance in those hazel depths before she parts her lips. I place the meat on her tongue, deliberately letting my fingers linger against the soft wetness of her mouth. She doesn't pull back, simply closes her lips around my fingertips for the briefest moment before I withdraw. "Fuck," I mutter under my breath. "What?" she asks, slightly breathless as she swallows. Nothing. I break off another piece, trying to focus on the task rather than how badly I want to replace the lobster with my tongue. Just making sure you're getting enough to eat. Her legs remain slightly parted where I'd positioned her on the table, and I'm standing between them, close enough to feel the heat of her body. Her work uniform, that tight black shirt and those form-fitting pants, leaves little to imagination, but my mind fills in the blanks anyway. It's delicious, she says, and her tongue darts out to catch a drop of buttery juice on her lower lip. My cock throbs painfully at the sight. I shift my stance, trying to ease the pressure. Don't you want some? She asks, noticing I haven't eaten any myself. I'm enjoying watching you eat, I admit, my voice rougher than I intended. Her eyes widen slightly, pupils dilating. She knows exactly what's happening between us. The air feels charged, electric with possibility. I break off another piece of lobster, this one dripping slightly. I dip the lobster piece into the aioli I brought with me and hold it up to her lips. Try this. She opens her mouth, taking the morsel and my fingertips together. This time she closes her eyes and makes a small noise in the back of her throat, a moan so soft it's almost inaudible, but it hits me. Fuck me. I want to be balls deep inside her right fucking now. The thought is so intense it's almost painful. I want to lay her back on this table, push those tight pants down her legs, and bury myself in her. I want to hear that moan again, louder this time, with my name mixed in. As she chews, I notice a small smear of the garlic aioli on the corner of her mouth. Perfect. You have a little... I gesture to the corner of her mouth. She raises her hand to wipe it away, but I catch her wrist. Her pulse jumps beneath my thumb. Let me, I say. I slide my thumb across the corner of her mouth, collecting the creamy sauce. Then, deliberately, I trace her full bottom lip with my thumb, spreading the aioli in a slow glide across the pink flesh. Her breath catches, her pupils dilating until those hazel eyes are mostly black. I hold her gaze as I cup her jaw with my free hand, my fingers threading into the silky hair at the nape of her neck. Her skin is warm beneath my palm, soft in a way that makes me want to touch every inch of her. Matteo, she whispers, my name a question on her lips. I don't answer with words. I pull her face toward mine and press my mouth to hers, my tongue sweeping across her bottom lip to taste the sauce I'd just spread there. The garlic aioli is good, but she tastes better, sweet and warm and alive. For a heartbeat, she freezes. Then she melts against me, her hands coming up to grip my shoulders. I deepen the kiss, angling her head exactly how I want it, taking control of her mouth the way I've been imagining since I first saw her behind that bar. She makes that soft noise again, that barely there moan that drives me fucking crazy. I growl in response, my hand tightening in her hair. I press closer, stepping fully between her thighs where she sits on the table. Her legs part further to accommodate me, and I can feel the heat of her through the layers of our clothes.
Hazel. His mouth crashes against mine, and everything in my world narrows to this moment. This man. This kiss. Matteo tastes like danger and expensive whiskey, his tongue sweeping across mine with confident possession. My brain short-circuits, unable to form a single coherent thought beyond the electric sensation of his lips on mine. The rough scrape of his beard against my sensitive skin sends shivers racing through my core. I should stop this. I should push him away. I should. But I can't think of a single reason why I should stop. Not when his hand cradles my jaw so tenderly while his kiss devours me. Not when heat pools between my thighs, my body responding to his touch like he's flipped some hidden switch inside me. His other hand slides to my waist, fingers digging into my hip as he pulls me closer to the edge of the table. My legs part instinctively as he presses his body against mine. The hard bulge of his arousal pushes against my center, and I gasp into his mouth as the delicious pressure suffuses my entire body. Fuck, I whisper against his lips, unable to contain the word. He smiles against my mouth, a predatory curve of his lips that I feel rather than see. That's the idea, Bella. His lips trail down my neck, teeth grazing my pulse point. My head falls back, giving him better access as pleasure spirals through me. Each nip of his teeth, each stroke of his tongue sends another wave of heat to my center. I'm embarrassingly wet already, my panties damp beneath my work pants. I slide my hands from his shoulders to his chest, feeling the solid muscle beneath his smooth cotton shirt. My fingers curl into the pristine fabric, pulling him even closer. I need more contact, more pressure, more everything. Matteo groans against my throat, his hands tightening on my waist before yanking my tucked shirt free. "You feel what you do to me," he says, grinding his hardness against me. The raw desire in his voice makes me tremble. I've never wanted anyone this badly, this quickly. Something about Matteo bypasses all my usual caution, all my carefully constructed walls. "Tell me what you want, Hazel," he commands, his voice a rough whisper against my ear. His hand slides under my shirt, calloused fingers tracing the bare skin of my lower back. "Tell me exactly what you need." His touch burns like a brand, marking me as his. I arch. The unabridged version is available on our website. With the code YT25, enjoy 25% discount. Thank you for watching. By the way, where are you listening from? Comment below.
Chapter 5. Matteo. I pull away from Hazel, still trying to catch my breath. My legs feel unsteady as I step back, taking in the sight before me. She's sprawled on the table, hair wild around her flushed face, her body glistening with sweat. The table beneath her is soaked, evidence of what just happened between us. Fuck. That was unexpected. As I take my condom off, I can't stop the satisfied grin spreading across my face. The confusion on her face when she squirted tells me everything I need to know. This is new territory for her. The thought that I'm the first to make her body respond that way sends a possessive thrill through me. "You okay?" I ask, pulling on my pants. Hazel sits up slowly, wincing slightly. "I think so. That was intense." I watch as she slides off the table, her legs trembling beneath her. She nearly stumbles, and I reach out to steady her with one hand while fastening my belt with the other. "Careful there, Bella." I can't help the smugness in my voice. "Your legs working all right?" She shoots me a look, half embarrassment and half something else. Pride, maybe. That's never happened before. I figured. I pull my shirt on, not bothering with the buttons yet. "First time squirting?" Her cheeks flush deeper as she nods, reaching for her panties and attempting to balance on one foot to put them on. She wobbles again and I step closer, placing a steadying hand on her hip. "Oh my God," she says suddenly, looking at the mess on the table and floor. "I need to clean this up. We can't leave it like this." I take a moment to appreciate the view as she bends to retrieve her bra, the perfect curve of her ass, the red marks from my fingers on her hips. My cock twitches with renewed interest, despite having just come. "Don't worry about it," I tell her, picking up her shirt from where I tossed it. "Peter will handle the cleanup." "But that's," she sputters, gesturing at the wet table. "That's embarrassing. I can't let him see that." I step behind her, pressing my chest to her back as I hand her the shirt over her shoulder. My lips brush her ear as I speak. "What Peter doesn't know is that he'll be cleaning up the sweetest juice in the entire universe." She turns her head, our faces inches apart. Those hazel eyes widen, pupils still bloated from pleasure. Something passes between us, a current of electricity that hasn't diminished one bit. I need to have her again, soon. "Let me help you," I say, taking the pants from her hands. I gather the fabric and hold it open for her to step into. She does. My fingers trail along her skin as I pull the zipper up, deliberately slow. "There," I say, "though it seems a shame to cover you up when I'm just going to take it all off again in a few minutes." Her breath catches. What do you mean? I cup her face in my hand, my thumb tracing her bottom lip. I mean, I'm not nearly done with you yet, Hazel. That was just the beginning. But I'm going to take you back to my room, I tell her, my voice dropping lower. And I'm going to make you squirt again, and again, all night long. Her pupils dilate further, her lips parting slightly. Matteo. I want to hear you scream my name until your voice gives out, I continue, pulling her closer. I want to taste every inch of you. She swallows hard, her hands coming to rest on my chest. The kitchen. We'll be fine, I finish for her. Trust me. I step back, buttoning my shirt quickly before grabbing my jacket. I take her hand, leading her toward the door. Before we leave, I pull out my wallet and leave a stack of bills on the counter, far more than necessary for the lobster and the cleanup. In the empty hallway, I pull her to me again, unable to resist tasting her lips once more. She melts against me, her body soft and pliant. When I break the kiss, I see my desire mirrored in her eyes. She wants this as much as I do. Without warning, I bend and scoop her into my arms. She lets out a surprised squeak, her arms automatically wrapping around my neck. What are you doing? She asks, laughing. Taking what's mine, I answer simply, carrying her toward the elevator. Her weight is nothing in my arms as I stride through the hotel's back corridor. She feels right there, her head tucked against my shoulder, her scent filling my senses. I can walk, you know, she protests weakly. Maybe, I concede with a smirk, but your legs were shaking pretty hard back there. And besides, I press the elevator call button with my elbow. I like having you in my arms. We get inside and she is still heavy breathing. I watch the doors close with Hazel cradled in my arms. The moment we're alone, I set her down, pressing her against the mirrored wall. Her eyes are wide, lips parted, chest still rising and falling rapidly. What floor? She asks breathlessly. I reach past her to press the button for the presidential suite, my body caging hers against the wall. Top floor. Before she can respond, my mouth is on hers again, hungry and demanding. My hands find her hips, pulling her against me so she can feel how hard I am again already. The elevator begins its ascent, but I have other plans. Without breaking the kiss, I reach over and hit the emergency stop button. The elevator jolts to a halt, and a small alarm bell chimes once before falling silent. Hazel pulls back, surprise flashing across her face. What are you? I can't wait, I growl, dropping to my knees in front of her. Need to taste you right now. Her eyes stretch as I pull down the zipper of her pants, tugging them down her legs. She steps out of them without protest, her breathing quickening. Matteo. We're in an elevator, she whispers, glancing nervously at the camera in the corner. I smirk up at her. Don't worry about that. Security knows better than to check when I stop the elevator. I stand again, lifting her effortlessly. She gasps, wrapping her legs around my waist instinctively. I carry her to the corner of the elevator, positioning her so her back is supported by the walls meeting at a right angle. Hold on to the handrails, I command. She obeys, gripping them tightly as I position her onto my shoulders.
Hazel, I slip out of bed, careful not to wake him. My body aches in the most delicious way as I pad across the plush carpet toward the floor-to-ceiling windows. Moonlight spills through the glass, casting the presidential suite in silver shadows. This place is bigger than my entire apartment. The living area alone could fit my bedroom 3 times over. Leather furniture, crystal decanters on the bar cart, and artwork that probably costs more than I'll make in a year. Everything screams money and power. I wrap my arms around myself, suddenly feeling small and out of place. Just a bartender working all hours to make ends meet. Turning back to the bed, I watch Matteo sleep. He looks different like this. softer somehow. The dangerous edge that envelops him when he's awake has melted away. His dark lashes rest against his cheeks, his full lips slightly parted. The sheets pool at his waist, revealing the sculpted planes of his chest and the tattoos marking his skin. My fingers touch my lips, still swollen from his kisses. I've never experienced anything like what happened between us tonight. Not just the physical pleasure, though God knows that was unlike anything I've ever felt, but the intensity of the connection. I've always chosen safe men, predictable men who wouldn't challenge me or hurt me, men I could walk away from when things got complicated. Matteo is none of those things. My body responds to him in ways I didn't know were possible. He touched places inside me no one has ever reached, and I don't just mean physically. That terrifies me more than anything. I press my thighs together, feeling the pleasant soreness between them. 3 times since we got to the suite, and each time more intense than the last. My cheeks heat, remembering the things he whispered in my ear, the way he made me beg. But tomorrow, he'll be gone, back to his real life, whatever that is. I'm not naive enough to believe I'm anything more than a one-night stand to a man like him. I touch the wildflower tattoo on my wrist, tracing the delicate lines with my finger. What am I still doing here?
Matteo. I wake to sunlight streaming through the windows. I forgot to curtain last night. My body feels relaxed, satisfied in a way I haven't experienced in years. I reach across the bed, seeking Hazel's warmth, but my hand finds only cool sheets. Hazel, I call, pushing up onto my elbows. The space beside me is empty. I scan the room, noticing the absence of her clothes that were scattered across the floor last night. The door to the bathroom stands open, lights off. Hazel, I call louder, throwing back the sheets and getting out of bed. No answer. I check the bathroom anyway, finding it empty. The living area of the suite is equally deserted, no sign of her anywhere. A knot forms in my stomach as I walk back to the bed, running a hand through my hair. That's when I spot it. A small folded piece of paper on her pillow. I snatch it up, unfolding the hotel stationery to find her neat handwriting. Matteo, thank you for last night. I didn't want to wake you. Have a good flight back to New York. Hazel, no phone number, no call me sometime. Nothing but a polite thank you and goodbye. The paper crumples in my fist as I stare at the empty bed. Last night replays in my mind, her gasps, her smile, the way she trembled under my touch. And now she's gone. Fuck.
Chapter 6. Present day. Hazel. The black silk sheets slide against my skin like cool water as I lie back on the enormous bed. My breath comes fast and shallow, my heart racing with anticipation. Matteo stands at the foot of the bed, his powerful frame silhouetted in the dim light. The muscles in his arms and chest flex as he moves, revealing the intricate lines of his tattoos. The small cross on his wrist catches my eye. Something about seeing that intimate detail makes my stomach flip. You're so fucking beautiful. And then I'm gasping awake in my bedroom, sheets tangled around my legs, my body covered in a thin sheen of sweat. The space beside me is empty. No Matteo, just another dream. I untangle myself from the damp sheets and swing my legs over the side of the bed. My body still aches with phantom pleasure, the dream lingering in my system like a drug. I press my fingers to my temples, willing away the image of Matteo's hands on my skin, his voice in my ear. 3 years since that night, and he still haunts my dreams. The hardwood floor feels cool against my bare feet as I pad across the massive bedroom. Everything in this house is cold. The hand-carved 4-poster bed, the silk sheets, the crystal chandelier hanging from the coffered ceiling. A beautiful prison. I glance at the clock on the nightstand. 3:17 a.m. Elliot won't be back until tomorrow night. At least I can breathe for a few more hours. The hallway stretches before me, all marble floors and museum-quality artwork. I trace my fingers along the wall as I walk, careful not to disturb anything. Elliot notices if even a single item is out of place. The house is exactly as he wants it, perfect, sterile. In the kitchen, I flip on the small light above the sink rather than the main overhead. The marble countertops gleam in the dim light. I remember the first time I saw this kitchen, how impressed I was by the professional-grade appliances, the custom cabinetry, the wine refrigerator stocked with bottles worth more than I could make in a month at the bar. Now I see it for what it is, another showcase of Elliot's wealth, another way to display his power. I fill a glass with water from the refrigerator dispenser. I take a long sip, trying to wash away the old memory of Matteo. It doesn't work. It never does. 2 years ago, I was still tending bar at the Remington when Elliot Montgomery walked in. It was the same hotel bar where I'd met Matteo the year before, though I'd tried my best to forget that night. After Matteo, I threw myself into work, picking up extra shifts and sending more money home to my family. I couldn't afford to get distracted by handsome strangers with dangerous smiles, but I did, and somehow hoped that he would come back. He didn't. Elliot came to the Remington every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 weeks straight, always sitting at the bar, always ordering the same drink. Unlike the other businessmen who frequented the hotel, Elliot was polite. He tipped well, but didn't make a show of it. He asked questions about me, real questions, and actually listened to the answers. "You should let me take you to dinner," he said one night, his perfect smile gleaming under the bar lights. I declined. "I don't date customers." "Then I'll stop being a customer," he replied smoothly. "I'll find another bar." I laughed. There are easier ways to get a date. "I don't want an easy date. I want you." His persistence wore me down. I considered switching bars, getting a new job, just to escape his attention, but something about his charm kept me there. After a month of gentle pursuit, I finally agreed to dinner. He took me to the most expensive restaurant in Austin, where the maitre d' knew him by name. Over wine that cost more than my entire grocery budget, Elliot told me about his family's construction empire, the buildings they'd built across Texas, the legacy he was set to inherit. "You work too hard," he said, reaching across the table to take my hand. His touch was gentle, his manicured fingers smooth against my bartender's calluses. "Someone like you deserves to be taken care of." I pulled my hand away. "I take care of myself." "And your family," he added. "Your father's medical bills, your brother's education." I stiffened. "How do you know about that?" "I make it my business to know about things that matter." His eyes were kind, his voice soft. "It's not right what you're going through. A woman like you shouldn't have to work so many hours just to keep her family afloat." One dinner turned into 2, then 3. Elliot was charming, attentive, generous. He sent flowers to my apartment, gift cards to my mother, a laptop for my brother. When Mom lost her job at the insurance company, budget cuts, they said, Elliot was there with connections and promises. "I know people," he assured me. "We'll find her something better." But weeks turned into months, and no one would hire her. The bills kept coming. Dad's condition worsened, requiring more expensive treatments that we couldn't afford. Jake's college applications were due, but the scholarship he was counting on fell through. Then Elliot proposed. 6 months after our first date, he took me to a private rooftop garden overlooking the city. Under a canopy of twinkling lights, he dropped to one knee and opened a velvet box containing a diamond ring that caught the light like a small sun. "Marry me, Hazel," he said, his voice full of promise. "Let me take care of you. Let me take care of all of you." I stared at the ring, at his hopeful face, at the future he was offering. "Your mother will have a job at Montgomery Industries," he continued. "The best health insurance for your father. A full scholarship for Jake at any university he chooses." My heart hammered in my chest. This wasn't how I'd imagined my life unfolding, but what choice did I have? My family was drowning and Elliot was throwing us a lifeline. "Your family won't suffer anymore," he promised, sliding the heavy ring onto my finger. "Say yes, and everything changes." I looked into his eyes, kind and earnest. I made my choice. Yes, I whispered. The wedding was a lavish affair covered by local society magazines. Elliot spared no expense. My mother wore designer clothes for the first time in her life. Jake looked handsome in his tailored suit. Dad was able to walk me down the aisle thanks to a new treatment Elliot had arranged. As promised, Mom got a position in the HR department at Montgomery Industries. Dad's medical care was covered by the company's premium insurance. Jake received a full ride at UT Austin. Everything changed, just like Elliot said it would. I set my empty glass in the sink and stare out the kitchen window at the manicured garden beyond. I made my choice. I saved my family, and I've been paying for it ever since.
Matteo. I lean back in my chair, studying the blueprints spread across the conference table. The Venetian Rose Casino's new security system is impressive. Maybe too impressive. These camera blind spots are intentional. I tap my finger on 3 separate locations marked in red on the schematics. Daniel nods, his military short hair catching the light from the overhead fixtures. Damiano's orders. Some conversations need privacy, even from our own security feed. Smart. I trace the path from the main gaming floor to the private rooms. But risky. The Sartori family could exploit these gaps if they knew about them. They don't. Daniel's voice is certain. These plans are eyes only for Feretti security leadership. I nod, appreciating the thoroughness. This joint venture with the Sartori family requires a delicate balance. Partnership on the surface with careful protection of our interests underneath. The casino represents millions in legitimate business, plus the additional benefit of having a neutral meeting ground for more sensitive discussions. What about staff rotation? I ask, flipping to the personnel schedules. I'm seeing too many Sartori people on the main floor during peak hours. Daniel's jaw tightens. I noticed that too. Ricardo keeps pushing for more of their dealers during high-stakes play. Unacceptable. I make a note on the margin. We need equal representation at all times, especially when whales are in the building. My phone vibrates against the table. Damiano's name flashes on the screen. I glance at Daniel, who immediately starts gathering the papers. Damiano, I answer, switching to Italian. We were just finishing up the security review. Good. His voice is clipped, all business. I need you in my office once you're done. We need to discuss the charity gala next month. The one at the casino? I check my watch. I'd planned to review the shipment manifest for our Colombian friends this afternoon, but Damiano's priorities always come first. Yes, the guest list needs adjustments. The way he says it tells me this isn't just about adding a few names to the invitations. I'll be there in 20. And Matteo, Damiano continues before I can hang up, once you're finished with Daniel, send him to Lucrezia. She wants to go shopping. Daniel will be thrilled, I say dryly, catching Daniel's grimace as he overhears his assignment. He'll survive, Damiano replies, no sympathy in his voice. My office, 20 minutes. He hangs up without waiting for confirmation. I set my phone down and look at Daniel, who's already standing, resignation written across his face. Babysitting duty, he asks. Lucrezia needs a shopping companion. I stack the blueprints neatly. Daniel runs a hand over his buzz cut. I check that all the security documents are properly gathered. These plans can't leave this room except in the secure briefcase Daniel brought them in. Children's Hospital Annual Gala. The casino hosts it every year. Perfect opportunity to display the legitimate side of our business while rubbing elbows with New York's elite. I slide the papers into the leather portfolio. And an excellent chance to make certain political connections. Daniel nods, understanding the subtext. The casino may be our most visible business, but the real value comes from the relationships we cultivate there. Judges who look the other way, police captains who ensure our territories remain undisturbed, politicians who can be persuaded to vote in our interest. Good luck with Lucrezia, I say, unable to resist a small smile. Maybe take her to Bergdorf first. That usually puts her in a good mood. Daniel grunts, clearly unenthusiastic about his assignment. I'd rather face down a cartel hit squad. No, you wouldn't. I clap him on the shoulder. At least Lucrezia won't shoot you. Probably. Funny. He secures the briefcase with a click of the locks. I follow Daniel down to the underground parking level beneath the Feretti office building. The garage is pristine, polished concrete floors and perfect lighting. No dingy corners or suspicious stains here. The Ferettis keep everything immaculate, whether it's their money laundering or their parking garages. I'll meet you there, I tell Daniel as he heads toward his black Audi SUV, the standard issue vehicle for Feretti security. My Ducati Panigale waits in its reserved spot, gleaming under the overhead lights. I run my hand over the sleek red body, feeling the cool metal beneath my palm. This bike is the one indulgence I allow myself, pure Italian engineering and speed. Daniel gives me a nod as he slides into his car. Try not to get yourself killed on that thing. Where's the fun in that? I grin, swinging my leg over the seat and feeling the machine come alive beneath me. I pull out first, the SUV following behind as we exit onto the street. The mid-afternoon Manhattan traffic is heavy but predictable. I weave between cars while Daniel remains trapped in the gridlock. The bike gives me freedom in a city where space is the ultimate luxury. 20 minutes later, I pull up at the Feretti mansion in the most exclusive part of the Upper East Side. Daniel arrives a few minutes after me, looking annoyed at being left behind. As I remove my helmet, I spot Lucrezia waiting at the entrance. She's dressed in jeans and a leather jacket. Her dark hair falls in perfect waves around her shoulders, and her expression is the usual mix of boredom and irritation. At least that's what she wants to show. We all know that she uses that as a shield. I can't blame her after what she's been through. Finally, she calls out as Daniel parks. I've been waiting 10 minutes. I can't resist. Daniel's really excited about your shopping trip. He was just telling me how much he loves holding your bags while you try on clothes. Daniel shoots me a death glare as he climbs out of the SUV. Lucrezia's lips twitch with amusement. Is that right, Daniel? You enjoy being my personal pack mule? Daniel stands at attention, his face carefully neutral. Whatever you need, Miss Feretti. She laughs, the sound surprisingly light coming from someone who usually projects such a hard exterior. Relax, both of you. I'm not in the mood for much shopping today. I raise an eyebrow. Lucrezia Feretti not in the mood for shopping? That's like saying the Pope isn't in the mood for Mass. I might just go meet Sienna for coffee instead, she continues, pulling out her phone to check something. She's at that new place in Soho. Daniel visibly relaxes and I bite back another smile. Coffee's still a security concern, Daniel says, professional as always. I'll drive you. Lucrezia rolls her eyes, but doesn't argue. In our world, solo outings aren't an option for someone of her status. Too many enemies would love to get their hands on Damiano Feretti's sister. Your brother's waiting for me, I tell her, tucking my helmet under my arm. Try not to torture Daniel too much. No promises, she says with a wicked smile. He's so much fun to mess with. I'm standing right here, Daniel mutters. I know, Lucrezia pats his arm condescendingly. That's what makes it fun. I leave them to their bickering and head inside. The mansion is a fortress disguised as a palace, classic architecture on the outside, state-of-the-art security on the inside. 2 guards nod at me as I enter, not bothering to check my credentials. Everyone knows who belongs and who doesn't in this house. The interior is all Renaissance art and modern Italian design. Old money mixed with new power. I walk through the main hall toward Damiano's office, my footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. Damiano's office is at the back of the house, a massive room with windows overlooking a private garden. I knock twice before entering, not waiting for permission. Few people can get away with that, but Damiano and I have history that predates his rise to power. Matteo, he acknowledges without looking up from his computer. Close the door. I do as instructed and take a seat in one of the leather chairs facing his desk. I wait in silence, knowing better than to rush him. Finally, he looks up. The security plans for the casino are finalized? Yes, though I've noted some concerns about the staff rotation. Sartori's pushing for more of his people on the floor during peak hours. Damiano's expression hardens slightly. I'll speak with Ricardo about it. Now, he continues, about this charity gala. Chapter 7. Matteo. I kick my shoes off the moment I walk into my apartment, dropping my keys in the crystal dish by the door. The tension in my shoulders starts to melt away as the door clicks shut behind me, sealing out the chaos of the day. My place is nothing like the Feretti mansion. No marble floors or priceless artwork. But it's mine. Clean lines, modern furniture, and floor-to-ceiling windows with a view across the city. Worth every penny for the privacy and the escape it provides. I shrug off my jacket, drape it over the back of a chair, and head straight for the bar cart in the corner of the living room. The cut crystal decanter catches the late afternoon light as I pour 2 fingers of scotch into a heavy glass. The first sip burns just right, warming my throat and chest. With drink in hand, I sink into the leather couch and close my eyes. The silence wraps around me like a blanket. No guards, no Damiano, no family business. Just me and the distant hum of the city below. These moments are rare. Moments when I'm not Matteo Caruso, Feretti family enforcer and problem solver. When I'm just me. My phone vibrates in my pocket, shattering the peace. Fuck, I mutter, and consider ignoring it. But in my line of work, ignored calls have consequences. I pull it out and check the screen. Noah Rivera. Even better. I take another sip of scotch before answering. What? Good to hear your voice too, asshole, Noah says, his tone casual but with that underlying edge he always carries. You busy tomorrow? Why? I'm already dreading whatever he's about to say. Need you to come with me to JFK to pick up Evelyn's cousin. I sit up straighter, irritation flaring. You're joking, right? Since when am I your personal chauffeur? Since never. But I need backup. For an airport family pickup, I can't keep the sarcasm from my voice. What, is her cousin some kind of ninja assassin? Funny, Noah says flatly. Look, it's a security thing. Then take Daniel. Or literally any of the other guys whose actual job is security. Damiano specifically asked for you. I pinch the bridge of my nose. Noah, I'm not your fucking problem solver. Go to the airport, pick up the girl, bring her back. How complicated can it be? You think I want to spend my day at JFK with you? There's a hint of amusement in his voice now. I've got better things to do. Then go fuck yourself, I say without heat. I've got plans. Noah laughs, the sound sharp and knowing. No, you don't. I drain my scotch, annoyed because he's right. Still not going. Damiano insisted, Noah says, his tone shifting to serious. I lean back against the couch cushions. When Damiano insists on something, it's not really a request. And if he's concerned about security for a simple airport pickup, there's more to this than Noah's telling me. What aren't you saying? I ask. Nothing you need to worry about now. Just be ready at noon. Her flight lands at 2. I exhale slowly. Fine, but you're buying me lunch. Whatever makes you feel better, princess, Noah says, and I can practically hear his smirk through the phone. Fuck you, I reply automatically. Love you too. See you tomorrow. He hangs up before I can respond. I toss my phone onto the couch beside me and stare out at the city skyline. The sun is starting to set, painting the glass towers gold and orange. It's beautiful in a cold, distant way, like so much of the life I've built. With a sigh, I push myself up and head back to the bar cart for a refill. If I have to spend tomorrow babysitting some civilian with Noah Rivera, I'm going to need to unwind tonight. The scotch pours amber and smooth into the glass. I hold it up to the fading light, watching how it catches and transforms the color. I take my drink to the windows, gazing out at the city lights beginning to flicker on across New York. Family. That's what it all comes down to with the Ferettis. Not just blood, but the bonds we've built, the loyalty we've earned. It's fucking ironic. I kill people for a living, or arrange for them to disappear, solve problems, and make threats that aren't empty. But the Ferettis treat me like one of their own, like family. I take another sip, letting the fine single malt scotch burn down my throat. The Ferettis operate on a code most people wouldn't understand. Honor, respect, loyalty, family above all. It sounds noble until you realize what family business actually means. It means blood. It means dead bodies. It means making sure the right people are scared and the wrong people disappear. And I'm good at it. Too good, maybe. I run my thumb around the rim of the glass, thinking about how I got here. From a Brooklyn kid with no education other than street smarts to Damiano Feretti's go-to problem solver. The climb wasn't pretty, but it was effective. With Alessio, Damiano's right-hand man, taking personal time, I've been picking up the slack. Usually I don't mind. I like being useful, being needed. But babysitting some civilian? That's not exactly in my job description. I drain my glass and pour another. 3 fingers this time. The thing about working for the Mafia, the thing no one tells you, is that it's mostly business. Boring, everyday business. Moving money, making deals, keeping records that will never see the light of day. It's meetings and phone calls and spreadsheets. Until it's not. Until it's a gun in your hand or blood on your shoes or a body that needs to disappear before sunrise. I press my forehead against the cool glass of the window. Below me, the city moves on, oblivious. People going home to families. People who don't have to worry about whether tomorrow's job involves a gun or a handshake. The compass tattoo on my forearm catches my eye, a reminder to stay true to my course, to remember what matters. Family, loyalty, finding my way through the darkness. Fuck, I'm getting philosophical. Must be the scotch. I knock back the rest of my drink and set the glass down harder than necessary. The sound echoes in the empty apartment. It's not that I resent Alessio. The man's earned a break. He's Damiano's shadow, always on call, always in the middle of whatever shit is going down. But his absence means everyone else shifts up a rung, and now suddenly I'm handling things that would normally be his problem, like whatever this airport situation is tomorrow.
Hazel, I keep my sunglasses on even though we're inside the plane. They hide the tears that won't stop falling, no matter how many times I wipe them away. Not that anyone's looking. The businessman beside me is too absorbed in his laptop to notice the woman quietly falling apart in seat 14B. 2 years of marriage, 2 years of slowly disappearing inside my own home. I didn't think it would come to this. Running away with nothing but a hastily packed carry-on and the cash I'd been secretly stashing in my tampon box for months. The one place Elliot would never look. The flight attendant passes along the aisle, her smile faltering when she catches sight of me. I turn to the window, pretending to be fascinated by clouds. I don't need her concern or questions. I've had enough of both to last a lifetime. "Would you like something to drink?" she asks. "Water, please," I murmur, my voice still raw from crying in the airport bathroom. She hands me a plastic cup, her eyes lingering a moment too long on my face. I wonder if she can see past the makeup, the glasses, past the designer clothes that don't belong to the frightened girl wearing them. I take a sip and close my eyes, remembering last night's phone call. "Evelyn?" My voice trembled as I locked myself in the guest bathroom, the only room without cameras. I need to run. There was a pause, then my cousin's voice, sharp with concern. From Elliot? Just her understanding, the fact that she didn't need me to explain, broke something in me. A single tear slides down my cheek at the memory. "Yes," I whispered. "Come to New York," she said immediately. "I'll meet you at the airport. Just tell me when." No questions about why, no lecture about trying to work things out. Just immediate, unconditional help. "I don't want to drag you into this," I'd said, guilt already creeping in. "He has connections, money." "So do I," Evelyn replied with steel in her voice. "And I have friends who can help. Powerful friends." I didn't ask what she meant. I didn't care. All that mattered was my escape. The plane hits turbulence, jolting me back to the present. My hands grip the armrests, knuckles white. It's nothing compared to the storm I left behind. Last night. Elliot came home in one of his moods. I'd learned to read the signs, the tight jaw, the precise way he hung his coat, the silence that wasn't really silent, merely a countdown to explosion. I'd done everything right. Dinner was gourmet, the house spotless. I wore the dress he liked. I was the perfect, pretty doll he'd married. But it wasn't enough. It never was. I take another sip of water, letting the cool liquid soothe my raw throat. The bruise on my cheekbone throbs beneath the makeup, a constant reminder of what I'm running from. It wasn't always like this. Or maybe it was, and I just couldn't see it. Elliot was charming at first, attentive in ways no man had ever been. He noticed everything, my favorite flowers, how I took my coffee, which earrings I wore most often. I thought it was romantic, the way his eyes followed me across a room, how he always seemed to know where I was and who I was talking to. "I just want to take care of you," he'd say, his fingers brushing my hair back. "Let me handle everything." And I did. God help me, I did. It started small. He'd frown when I wore certain outfits. "That color doesn't flatter you, sweetheart," he'd say, voice gentle but eyes hard. Soon, clothes I liked would mysteriously disappear from my closet, replaced by things he'd chosen. My phone started acting strangely 6 months into our marriage. Battery draining fast, apps opening on their own. When I mentioned getting a new one, Elliot insisted on handling it. "I know people in tech," he said. "Let me take care of it for you." The new phone worked perfectly, and I never questioned why he needed my passwords. The businessman beside me shifts, and I flinch automatically. The reaction is instinctive now, a Pavlovian response to sudden movement. I hate that my husband has taken even this from me, the ability to exist in the world without fear. I think about the cameras he installed throughout our house. "For security," he'd explained, kissing my forehead. "I need to know you're safe when I travel." It seemed reasonable at the time. He was protecting me, loving me. I didn't realize he watched the footage, every second of it, every day. "Why did the pool guy stay for 45 minutes on Tuesday?" he asked casually over dinner one night. "The pool only takes 30 minutes to clean." My stomach had dropped. He was explaining the new chemical system. Elliot's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Next time, don't invite him inside for water. It sends the wrong message." I hadn't invited him in. The pool guy had asked to use the bathroom, but I knew better than to correct Elliot when that look was in his eyes. The flight attendant passes again, and I press myself smaller against the window. My thoughts drift to my friends, or the absence of them. One by one, they fell away after my marriage. Elliot always had reasons. Lisa was jealous of our happiness. Jen was a bad influence. Each time he'd comfort me through the necessary distancing. "You have me," he'd whisper. "I'm all you need." I traced the edge of my wedding ring, the diamond catching light from the sun beyond the airplane window. Elliot always said it was flawless, just like I needed to be for him. Perfect, controlled, his. The truth is that Elliot doesn't love me. He loves owning me, possessing me, controlling every aspect of my existence. And the most terrifying part? He thinks that is love. In his twisted mind, the obsessive control is how he shows he cares.
Chapter 8. Matteo. The sleek black Escalade cuts through morning traffic like a shark through water. I drum my fingers against my thigh, watching the city blur past the window. The leather seat beneath me is butter soft, the car's interior smelling of Italian cologne and new leather, but none of it improves my mood. "You're quiet today, Matteo." Noah's voice breaks through my thoughts. His eyes flick to me briefly before returning to the road. I shrug. Not much to say. Truth is, I'm pissed about this whole situation. JFK airport pickups aren't part of my job description, and I wanted to relax today. In the back seat, Evelyn shifts, the soft rustle of her clothing drawing my attention. She catches my eye and offers a small smile before returning her attention to her phone. The charity gala is coming together nicely, Evelyn says, breaking the silence. Damiano must be pleased with the RSVPs. Noah grunts in agreement. Senator Williams confirmed yesterday. That makes 3 politicians in our pocket. They're not in our pocket, Evelyn corrects gently. They're supporting a good cause. Noah's laugh is dark and amused. Sure, Bella. Whatever helps you sleep at night. I stare out at the gridlocked traffic ahead, my patience wearing thinner by the minute. We should have taken the helicopter. For an airport pickup, Noah scoffs. Bit excessive, even for you. At least we wouldn't be sitting in this shit. I gesture at the sea of cars ahead. Your cousin, I say, turning slightly to address Evelyn. What's her story? Evelyn looks up from her phone, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Hazel? We grew up together. She's more like a sister than a cousin. That's not what I asked. I catch the brief flash of hesitation in Evelyn's eyes before she answers. She's going through a difficult time, that's all. And that's why we're personally picking her up instead of sending a driver, I press, not bothering to hide my irritation. Noah's eyes meet mine, a silent warning to back off. I ignore him. Look, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I'd like to know what I'm walking into. I turn further in my seat to face Evelyn. Is she in trouble? Running from someone? Evelyn's fingers tighten around her phone. Please, Matteo, just let it be for now. I'm about to push harder when Noah cuts in. We're here. The Escalade pulls into the terminal drop-off area. I step out, scanning the crowded entrance. Force of habit. Noah hands the keys to a valet with a generous tip, and we make our way inside. JFK is a fucking nightmare as usual. Masses of people rushing in all directions, announcements blaring overhead, the smell of stale coffee and fast food hanging in the air. We find the arrivals board, and I check the flight from Austin. Delayed, I mutter. Of course. An hour, Evelyn confirms, looking at her phone. I sigh, running a hand through my hair. Perfect. We find a coffee shop near the gate and claim a table. Noah orders espresso for each of us, and I watch as he places a protective hand on Evelyn's lower back. The tenderness in that simple gesture still surprises me sometimes, considering what I know Noah is capable of. After the barista delivers our coffee, I decide to try again. So why the Feretti mansion? I ask, keeping my voice casual. Evelyn stirs her espresso slowly. Lucrezia insisted. Lucrezia. That catches me off guard. How does she even know about your cousin? I mentioned the situation to her, Evelyn says, not meeting my eyes. She was adamant about helping. I nod, even though I'm confused. Evelyn sighs, watching my face and probably recognizing my confusion. I don't know much, honestly. Hazel called me out of the blue asking for help. She sounded scared. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. I told Lucrezia that my cousin needed somewhere safe to stay for a while, and she immediately offered the mansion. And you didn't ask why your cousin suddenly needed a safe house? I can't keep the disbelief from my voice. She's family, Evelyn says firmly. When family asks for help, you help. Questions come later. I lean back in my chair, studying her. Evelyn's usually open face is now a careful mask, but I detect something in her eyes. Worry, maybe fear. Whatever's happening with her cousin, it's serious. Fine, I say.
Hazel, my heart bangs against my ribs as the plane finally touches down at JFK. The past hours feel like a fever dream, sneaking out while Elliot was gone, the taxi to the airport, the feeling that he would somehow know where I was heading even though I left my phone behind. I know he will track the call with Evelyn. Every time the flight attendant walked past, I tensed, half expecting her to lead Elliot's security team. But they didn't appear. I made it. I adjust my sunglasses as passengers start grabbing their bags. My hands shake as I pull my small carry-on from the overhead bin. It contains everything I could safely take. Some clothes, my mother's locket, and the cash. Not much to show for 24 years of life on this earth. The walk through the terminal feels endless. Every security guard makes my pulse spike. Every announcement over the PA system sounds like a warning. I keep my head down, sunglasses firmly in place despite being indoors. Finally, I exit, walking toward the arrivals hall where Evelyn promised she'd be waiting. I scan the crowd, searching for my cousin's familiar face. Then I spot her, waving frantically, her hair bouncing as she jumps to be seen above the crowd. Relief floods through me so powerfully that my knees nearly buckle. "Hazel," she calls, pushing through the throng of people. I rush toward her, dropping my bag as she wraps her arms around me. The familiar scent of her envelops me. For the first time in months, I feel safe. "You made it," she whispers fiercely in my ear. "You're here. You're safe now." My throat tightens as tears threaten to spill. I want to collapse in her arms, to finally let go of the terror and tension I've been carrying. But something makes me look up, past Evelyn's shoulder. And that's when I see him. My body goes rigid. This can't be happening. This can't be real. Matteo. He's standing a few feet away, those intense amber-brown eyes locked on mine, his expression shifting from irritated boredom to shock horror. The same chiseled jaw, the same broad shoulders, the same man who's haunted my dreams for 3 years. "What the hell?" I whisper, my voice barely audible. I can't speak, can't move, can't figure how the man I spent one unforgettable night with 3 years ago is standing in JFK Airport staring at me like he's seen a ghost. Next to him, I briefly scan another man, tall, dark-haired, dangerous-looking, watching this reunion with calculating eyes. My entire body goes cold as I stare at Matteo. The shock of seeing him paralyzes me completely. I'm vaguely aware of Evelyn's hand on my arm, her voice asking if I'm okay, but it sounds distant, underwater. 3 years. 3 years since that night in Austin, the kitchen table, the hotel suite, the way he touched me like I was something precious, the way I slipped away before dawn. And now he's here, in New York, with my cousin. "Hazel, are you all right?" Evelyn's voice finally breaks through my daze. I force myself to nod, unable to tear my eyes away from Matteo. He's even more handsome than I remember, his dark hair slightly longer, his jaw more defined, his presence somehow more commanding. He's wearing a custom-cut suit that fits him perfectly, highlighting the broad shoulders I once dug my nails into. But his eyes, those warm brown eyes that once looked at me with such hunger, show absolutely no recognition. "Hazel, this is Matteo Caruso," Evelyn says, gesturing toward him. "He works with Noah." Matteo steps forward, extending his hand. "Nice to meet you, Hazel." "Nice to meet you." The words hit me like a slap. He doesn't remember me. Not even a flicker of recognition crosses his face as he takes my trembling fingers in his, the same fingers that once traced every inch of my body. "Likewise," I managed to choke out, my voice sounding strange even to my own ears. His grip is firm, professional, completely devoid of any hint that we ever touched before today, that we were once as intimate as two people can be. I was just another one-night stand, a bartender he fucked in a hotel kitchen and then forgot about completely. The irony doesn't escape me. All these years I've carried the memory of that night like a secret treasure, pulling it out for comfort during my darkest moments with Elliot. The way Matteo looked at me, touched me, made me feel. It was my private escape whenever reality became too much to bear. And he doesn't even remember my face. "You look pale," Matteo says, his brow furrowing slightly. "Rough flight?" I nod, not trusting my voice. His accent is exactly as I remember it, that hint of Italian making every word sound like a caress. "Let's get you to the car," Evelyn says, wrapping her arm around my shoulders. "You must be exhausted." I let her guide me, focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. The man Evelyn called Noah takes my small carry-on, and Matteo walks ahead, clearing a path through the crowded terminal. My mind races, trying to make sense of this impossible coincidence. How is Matteo connected to Evelyn? What kind of work does he do with this Noah person? Can it really be simple import-export? And why doesn't he remember me? Was I really so forgettable? I study his back as he walks ahead of us, the confident stride, the way people instinctively move out of his path. What world has my cousin gotten herself into? Evelyn was always the sensible one, the violinist with a promising career. How did she end up connected to men like Matteo and Noah, who practically radiate danger? You're going to love the Feretti mansion, Evelyn whispers as we follow the men through the terminal. It's beautiful, and you'll be completely safe there. Mansion? Safe? The words don't compute. I came to New York expecting to crash on Evelyn's couch in some tiny apartment, not stay in a mansion with men who look like extras in a movie about organized crime. Evelyn, I whisper back, who are these people? She squeezes my shoulder. Friends. Powerful friends who can help. I'll explain everything later. My stomach knots with fresh anxiety. What have I done? I've escaped one dangerous situation only to land in another I don't understand. As we approach the exit, Matteo turns back to look at us. Car's waiting, he says to Noah, who nods and takes the lead. Outside, a sleek black SUV with tinted windows idles at the curb. Noah opens the rear door and Evelyn guides me inside. She slides in next to me while the men take the front seats, Noah driving. As we pull away from the curb, I catch Matteo watching me in the side mirror. His eyes are unreadable, dark and deep. He can't see I'm returning his observation because of my dark glasses. I avert my gaze to stare out the window at the unfamiliar New York landscape. I want to laugh at my own naivety. I want to cry at the unfairness of life.
Chapter 9. Matteo. The traffic on the Van Wyck Expressway crawls forward at a snail's pace. Hazel. The bartender from Austin. The woman I fucked senseless in a hotel kitchen 3 years ago. The woman who disappeared before dawn, leaving nothing but a curt note. She's sitting in the backseat right now. And she's Evelyn's fucking cousin. I glance in the side mirror again, catching her profile as she stares out the window. Same honey blonde hair, same delicate features, same woman who's popped into my thoughts at random moments for 3 goddamn years. What are the chances? 1 in a million? 1 in a billion? My stomach twists with suspicion. This can't be coincidence. No fucking way. Is she following me? Did she somehow track me down? Find out who I really am, who I work for? The thought sends ice through my veins. If she's been stalking me, if she knows about the Feretti family. I shift in my seat, fighting the urge to interrogate her right here in the car. My mind races through possibilities, none of them good. Could she be working for our enemies? The Volkovs? Law enforcement? You okay? Noah asks quietly, his voice low enough that the women in the back can't hear. Fine, I bite out, not taking my eyes off the road. But I'm not fine. I think back to that night in Austin. Did I say something? Reveal anything about who I really was, what I really did? I'd been careful, stuck to my cover story about import-export. But what if I slipped up? What if she figured something out and has been planning this all along? What if she knew all along? My jaw clenches as another possibility hits me. What if she's running from something serious? Something that could bring heat down on the Ferettis? I need to get control of this situation. Fast. As soon as we reach the mansion, I'll find a moment alone with her. I'll figure out what game she's playing. Because there's no way this is just some cosmic coincidence. Life doesn't work that way. I need to make a call, I say, pulling my phone out. Business. It's an excuse to think, to calm the rage and confusion boiling inside me. I dial Daniel's number, watching Hazel in the mirror as I do. She's still looking out the window, but her shoulders are tense, her posture rigid. Matteo, Daniel answers on the second ring. Just checking on security for tonight, I say, my voice all business. Any issues with the perimeter? While Daniel gives me a routine update I don't need, I observe Hazel's reaction. Nothing overt, but she's listening closely. I can tell by the slight tilt of her head, What's your angle, Hazel? What the fuck are you really doing here? The memory of her beneath me, around me, flashes through my mind. The way she moaned my name, dug her nails into my back. And now she's back, connected to my world in the most unexpected way. I end the call with Daniel and catch Noah watching me with narrowed eyes. He knows something's off. He always does. Everything good? He asks. Perfect, I lie. When the mansion comes into view, I hear Hazel's soft gasp from the back seat. The sprawling estate tends to have that effect on people seeing it for the first time. The manicured grounds, the imposing stone facade, the obvious wealth and power it represents. But all I can think about is getting her alone, demanding answers, finding out if she's a threat.
Hazel, the Feretti mansion looms before us, sprawling and magnificent against the morning sky. My breath catches as we approach the enormous gates that swing open automatically, revealing Italianate landscaped grounds that stretch in every direction. This isn't a house. It's a fortress disguised as a palace. I press my forehead against the cool glass window, trying to calm my racing thoughts. The proximity to Matteo in the car's confined space has my nerves fraying. His broad shoulders fill the seat in front of me. His strong hand grips the center rest, a hand that once explored every inch of my body. Stop it. That night meant nothing. It was just sex. Amazing, mind-blowing sex, but still just a one-night stand. That's why I left before dawn, slipping out while he slept. I didn't want the awkward morning after conversation, the empty promise to call, the inevitable waiting only to be followed by disappointment. The car rolls to a stop at the huge entrance, where massive double doors of dark wood and ornate iron await. My stomach twists with anxiety. What am I doing here? "We're here," Evelyn announces unnecessarily, squeezing my hand. "You're safe now." Am I? I glance at Matteo as he exits the car, his movements fluid and controlled. He hasn't given any indication he remembers me, which is both a relief and oddly painful. Noah opens my door, offering his hand with a gentle smile that doesn't match his intimidating frame. "Welcome to the Feretti residence." I step out on shaky legs, clutching my small bag to my chest like a shield. The mansion is even more impressive up close. Limestone walls rising 3 stories high, windows gleaming in the sunlight, every detail speaking of old money and power. The front doors swing open and a petite woman with long dark hair rushes out. She's beautiful in an intense way. "You must be Hazel," she calls, approaching with surprising speed on her high heels. "I'm Lucrezia Feretti." Before I can respond, she embraces me like we're old friends. The unexpected warmth catches me off guard, and I awkwardly pat her back with my free hand. "Thank you for inviting me to stay," I manage, my voice smaller than I'd like. "Of course." "Any family of Evelyn's is welcome here," Lucrezia says, pulling back to examine my face. "You must be exhausted from your flight." "A little," I admit, acutely aware of Matteo watching us from where he stands by the car. "Would you like to rest first? I can show you to your room," Lucrezia offers, already guiding me toward the porch. "Or are you hungry? Our chef can prepare something." The thought of food makes my stomach turn. What I really need is a moment alone to process everything. "Actually, I'd love to take a few minutes to freshen up," I say, forcing a smile. "The flight was long." "Of course," Lucrezia nods sympathetically. "You need some time to decompress." When we enter the foyer, I try not to gawk at the soaring ceilings, the marble floor, the crystal chandelier. Everything gleams with wealth and power, making me feel even more out of place in my simple jeans and sweater. Elliot is rich, but I have a very different feeling being here in this opulent palace, and I can't explain why. "I'll show you to your room," Lucrezia continues, leading me toward a grand curving staircase. It's in the east wing where you'll have plenty of privacy. I follow her up the stairs, grateful to be moving away from Matteo's penetrating gaze. I need space to think, to breathe, to figure out what I'm going to do next. That night in Austin feels like a lifetime ago. A different Hazel. Before Elliot. Before everything fell apart. Before I fell apart. It didn't mean anything. I repeat this to myself like a mantra as we walk down a long hallway lined with artwork that belongs in a museum. It was just one night. The best night of my life, maybe, but still just one night. And now, somehow, I've ended up in his world. A world that seems far more complicated and dangerous than I imagined. Here we are, Lucrezia announces, stopping at a heavy wooden door. She pushes it open with a flourish. This will be your room for as long as you need it. My breath catches as I step inside. The space is enormous, easily 3 times the size of my bedroom back in Austin. A king-size 4-poster bed dominates one wall, draped in crisp white linens that look cloud-soft. Huge windows showcase the estate grounds with gauzy curtains that filter the morning light. This is too much, I murmur, setting my pathetic little bag on an upholstered bench at the foot of the bed. Lucrezia waves away my concern. Nonsense. It's one of our smaller guest rooms. I nearly laugh. If this is small, I can't imagine what they consider large. The bathroom is through there, she continues, pointing to a door on the right. It's fully stocked with everything you might need. Towels, toiletries, robes. If anything's missing, just let me know. I nod, overwhelmed by the generosity. Lucrezia steps closer, her expression softening. Look, I know we're strangers right now, but Evelyn has told me enough. You can count on this family for anything, Hazel. She takes my hand, her grip surprisingly strong for someone so petite. Something in her eyes tells me she understands more than she's letting on. Has she been where I am? Thank you, I whisper, throat tight with emotion I can't afford to release yet. Get some rest. We can talk later. She squeezes my hand once more before heading to the door. It clicks shut behind her, and I'm alone in this palatial room that feels like a sanctuary and a gilded cage. The silence wraps around me like a blanket. No cameras watching. No Elliot monitoring my movements. Just me and my thoughts for the first time in what feels like forever. I need a shower. Need to wash away the airport grime, the fear, the memory of Elliot's hands on me last night. The bathroom is a marble paradise with a walk-in shower big enough for 4 people and a soaking tub that makes me want to cry with longing. Another time. Right now, I need to be quick. Standing before the massive bathroom mirror, I take a deep breath and begin to undress. I pull my sweater over my head slowly, wincing as the movement stretches tender muscles. The fabric catches on my shoulder and I bite my lip to keep from making a sound. When I finally drop the sweater to the floor, I force myself to look at my reflection. My face is unmarked, of course. Elliot was always careful about that. Can't have my beautiful wife showing up to a charity gala with a black eye, he'd say, as if his restraint was something to be grateful for. But my body tells another story. Purple fingerprint bruises circle both upper arms, 5 distinct marks where he gripped me too hard 2 days ago when I wore a dress he hadn't approved. An older yellowing bruise spreads across my ribs from where I accidentally bumped into the kitchen counter last week. And the newest addition, a patch of angry red skin on my back where he shoved me into the sharp edge of the bathroom door last night. Nothing serious. Nothing that won't heal in a week or 2. Nothing that would raise alarm if a doctor happened to see. Just enough to remind me who was in control. I trace the edge of a bruise with my fingertip, feeling the dull throb of pain. For 2 years, I've hidden these marks under carefully selected clothing. For 2 years, I've smiled through business dinners and charity events, playing the role of the perfect corporate wife while carrying these secret badges of my failure. Not failure, I correct myself. Survival. I made it out. I'm here, breathing, standing in this ridiculously palatial marble bathroom in a mansion belonging to people I barely know. But I'm free.
Chapter 10. Matteo. The meeting with Damiano has gone on for nearly an hour now. I've walked him through every security detail for the casino event, staff positioning, camera blind spots, emergency protocols, but my mind keeps drifting back to the woman currently occupying a guest room in the East Wing. The mayor confirmed his attendance? I ask, though I already know the answer. No one declines an invitation from Damiano Feretti. Yes, along with 2 city council members and the police commissioner. Damiano's mouth quirks up at the corner. all very eager to support our charitable endeavors. I can't help but smirk. Our charitable endeavors certainly benefit the community, especially those parts of the community sitting in Damiano's pocket. We'll need to keep the commissioner away from the back offices, I note. Even bought officials get curious after enough champagne. Agreed. Damiano closes the security file on his desk and changes the subject. Are you staying for dinner tonight? The question catches me off guard. Tonight? Ettore is preparing carbonara, your favorite. We have a guest, as you already know. My stomach growls at the thought. Ettore's carbonara is legendary. Under normal circumstances, wild horses couldn't drag me away from that meal. But these aren't normal circumstances. Not with Hazel under this roof. I'll stay for dinner, I say, keeping my voice neutral. Damiano doesn't need to know my real reason for accepting. Something in my tone must give me away, because Damiano's eyes narrow slightly. Good. He shuffles some papers on his desk before continuing. Speaking of our new house guest, I'm assigning security to her. My chest tightens. You think that's necessary? Evelyn seems to think so. Says the girl is running from something, or someone. He looks up at me. Until we know more, I want eyes on her, for her protection and ours. I nod, trying to appear merely professionally interested. Makes sense. Who are you putting on it? I was thinking Daniel. He's good with the delicate cases. Daniel's already assigned to Lucrezia, I point out, perhaps too quickly. And he's stretched thin with the casino preparations. Damiano raises an eyebrow. You have a better suggestion? I hesitate, knowing I'm walking a dangerous line. Getting personally involved is exactly what I shouldn't do. Not until I figure out who Hazel really is and what she's doing here. But the thought of Daniel watching over her, missing things, being careless, sits wrong in my gut. I can handle it, I say. The words leave my mouth before I can stop them. Damiano's expression shifts to one of genuine surprise. You? Since when do you volunteer for babysitting duty? I shrug, aiming for casual. I'm already involved. I picked her up, brought her here. Might as well see it through. I lean forward slightly. Besides, if she is trouble, I'm better equipped to handle it than Daniel. Damiano nods slowly. Fair point. But don't let it distract you from your other responsibilities. It won't. Fine. She's yours to watch. He gives me a pointed look. Just remember, we're protecting the family first. If she's a problem. He doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't need to. Understood, I say, rising from my chair. I'll see you at dinner. As I leave Damiano's office, I try to ignore the anticipation coursing through me. I tell myself it's just the thrill of solving a puzzle, of uncovering a potential threat. But deep down I know it's more than that. Much more. I step into the hall, my mind racing with thoughts of Hazel. Before I can get too deep into these thoughts, I nearly collide with Zoe rounding the corner. She's wearing a white sundress that makes her blonde hair seem even brighter against her fair skin. Whoa, sorry, I say, stepping back. Zoe smiles, her green eyes taking in my expression. No problem. You look like you're a million miles away. She glances at Damiano's closed door. Did you piss off my husband in there? Just so I know what mood I'll find him in. I can't help but chuckle. Zoe has that effect, cutting through tension with her directness. It's why she and Damiano work so well together. Where he's all controlled power, she's unflinching honesty. As far as I could tell, he was typical Damiano. I shrug. All business, minimal bullshit. So the usual, she says with a knowing smile. Brooding but functional. Exactly. Though he did invite me to dinner. Ettore's making carbonara. Zoe's eyes light up. Oh, then he must be in a good mood. He knows that's your favorite. See you later then. She tilts her head, heading to the office. I watch her disappear into Damiano's office, envying the easy relationship she and Damiano have built. Despite all the darkness in his past, Zoe somehow found a way to his heart, and more impressively, got him to admit it.
Hazel. I don't remember falling asleep. The last thing I recall is sinking into the most comfortable mattress ever and my body finally giving in to exhaustion after days of fear and tension. A sharp knock jolts me awake. For a terrifying second, I think I'm back in Austin or that Elliot has found me. My heart hammers my ribs as I sit bolt upright. Hazel? You in there? Evelyn's voice filters through the door and relief washes over me. Yeah, come in, I call out, my voice still rough with sleep. The door opens and Evelyn steps inside, looking perfectly put together in a navy blue dress that hugs her curves. Her dark hair falls in soft waves around her shoulders. Hey there, sleeping beauty. She smiles, crossing the room to sit on the edge of the bed. You should start getting ready for dinner. I rub my eyes, trying to clear the fog from my brain. Dinner? Yes, dinner. That meal normal people eat in the evening. She smirks. You must be starving. You haven't eaten anything since you got here. My stomach growls on cue, and I realize she's right. Between the stress of fleeing Austin and the shock of seeing Matteo again, food has been the last thing on my mind. What time is it? I ask, glancing around for a clock. Almost 6. Dinner's at 7. Evelyn stands and walks to the massive closet in the corner of the room. Let's find you something to wear. I push back the covers and swing my legs over the side of the bed, wincing as my bruised ribs protest the movement. The pain is a stark reminder of why I'm here. I brought clothes, I say, gesturing toward my small carry-on. Evelyn glances at my bag with a look that's almost pitying. No offense, but I'm guessing you packed in a hurry. Besides, Lucrezia insisted I help you find something nice from the guest wardrobe. She throws open the closet doors to reveal rows of clothing in various sizes and styles. The Ferettis keep this stocked for guests who need something to wear. That's thoughtful, I say, unable to hide my surprise. It seems excessive to keep an entire wardrobe just for visitors. As Evelyn rifles through the clothing options, a question that's been nagging at me since the airport finally bubbles to the surface. Evelyn, I start, keeping my voice discreet even though we're alone. These people, are they criminals? Her hands pause on a hanger and she turns to face me. For a moment, she just looks at me, her expression unreadable. They're Mafia, Hazel. My jaw literally drops. I knew something was off. The mansion, the security, the way Noah and Matteo carry themselves like men accustomed to, even looking for violence. But hearing it confirmed feels like being doused in ice water. Mafia? I repeat, my voice barely above a whisper. Like actual mafia with guns and... They're Italian, Evelyn says simply, as if that explains everything. Well, except Noah. He's Mexican-American. But yes, the Feretti family is one of the most powerful crime families in New York. I sink back onto the bed, my legs suddenly too weak to support me. And you're... what? Dating one of them? Noah and I are a couple, yes. She pulls out a dark green dress and holds it up. This would look amazing with your coloring. Evelyn, I hiss. I don't care about the dress right now. You're telling me you brought me to a Mafia compound. She sighs, laying the dress on the bed beside me. I brought you somewhere safe. Somewhere Elliot can't reach you. I can't argue with that logic. Elliot might be powerful in Austin, but even he would think twice before crossing a New York Mafia don. Who exactly am I about to have dinner with? I ask, trying to wrap my head around this new reality. Damiano Feretti is the don, the head of the family. His wife Zoe is lovely, you'll like her. Enzo Feretti is Damiano's brother. He's intense, but he's fair. Lucrezia you met. She pauses. And of course, Noah and Matteo. Matteo. The name sends a flutter through my stomach that has nothing to do with hunger. Matteo Caruso, the man who gave me the most incredible night of my life 3 years ago, is Mafia. What's Matteo's role in all this? I ask, trying to sound casual. Evelyn gives me a curious look. He's Damiano's enforcer, handles security, the things that need handling. The euphemism isn't lost on me. Enforcement, handling things, violence. And you're okay with all this? I can't keep the judgment from my voice. It's complicated, she repeats, but her eyes soften. Look, I know how it sounds, but these people, they've been good to me, and they'll be good to you too. I take a deep breath. Okay, I guess I'm having dinner with the Mafia tonight. I pick up the green dress from the bed, running my fingers over the silky fabric. It's beautiful. The kind of thing that would have cost me 2 weeks' payback when I was bartending. Do you mind if I gesture vaguely toward the bathroom, suddenly self-conscious. Evelyn waves dismissively. Please, we used to change in front of each other all the time at summer camp. Remember the summer we shared that tiny cabin by the lake? The memory brings a small smile to my face despite everything. Evelyn and I had been inseparable that summer, staying up late whispering secrets and giggling until the counselors threatened to separate us. I remember, I say softly. Before I can argue further, Evelyn plops down on the bed, clearly not planning to leave. With a resigned sigh, I turn my back to her and pull my t-shirt over my head, trying to be quick about it. I hear her sharp intake of breath. Hazel, I freeze, shirt clutched against my chest. It's nothing, I say automatically, the lie bitter on my tongue. I hurriedly reach for the dress, but Evelyn is already touching my shoulder. I turn and her eyes widen as she takes in the fingerprint bruises on my upper arms, the yellowish marks on my ribs from last week. Oh my God, she whispers. Shame burns through me. I hate that she's seeing me like this. Broken. Marked. I try to cover myself with the dress, but it's too late. He did this to you. It's not a question. I nod, unable to meet her eyes. I'm not going to make you talk about it, Evelyn says, her voice steady despite the anger I can feel radiating from her. But when you're ready, I'm here. Anytime, day or night. She helps me into the dress, her movement gentle, careful not to press any of my bruises. The dress fits perfectly, the dark green fabric falling just past my knees. You look beautiful, she says, and I can hear the effort it takes to keep her voice light. Let me do your makeup. I nod, grateful for her understanding, for not pushing me to talk when the wounds, both physical and emotional, are still so raw. Evelyn links her arm through mine as we make our way down the grand staircase. My heart plunders my insides with each step. I've spent the last 2 years playing the perfect wife at Elliot's business dinners, but something tells me this will be entirely different. You'll be fine, Evelyn whispers, sensing my anxiety. Just be yourself. Myself is currently a nervous wreck, I mutter back. She squeezes my arm. They don't bite. Well, except maybe Enzo. I shoot her a horrified look and she laughs. I'm kidding, mostly. We follow the sound of voices to a large dining room dominated by a long mahogany table. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over the space, illuminating artwork. The room falls quiet as we enter and 6 pairs of eyes turn toward us. Everyone, Evelyn announces. This is my cousin, Hazel. A man rises from the head of the table. He's tall with dark wavy hair and intense brown eyes that seem to evaluate everything they see. His presence fills the room, commanding attention without effort. Welcome to our home, Hazel, he says, his voice deep and carrying a hint of an Italian accent. I'm Damiano Feretti, so this is the Don. Despite his welcoming words, there's something about him that makes me want to take a step back. Thank you for having me, I manage, my voice steadier than I feel. Beside Damiano, a blonde woman stands and approaches me with a warm smile that transforms her beautiful face. She's slender but strong-looking, with bright green eyes that crinkle at the corners. I'm Zoe, she says, taking my hands in hers. We're glad you're here. There's genuine kindness in her eyes, and I feel some of the tension leave my shoulders. Lucrezia bounces up next, her dark hair swinging. We've already met, but officially, I'm Lucrezia Feretti. She kisses my cheek. That dress is perfect on you. My eyes drift to the man seated beside where Lucrezia was sitting. He's massive, with a buzz cut and steely blue eyes that miss nothing. His hands rest on the table, and I notice small scars crisscrossing his knuckles. Daniel, he says with a curt nod, not bothering to stand. Evelyn guides me further into the room to where Noah waits with a small smile. Next to him sits a man who can only be Enzo Feretti. The family resemblance to Damiano is clear, though Enzo's features are sharper, more predatory. His hazel eyes darken as they flick over me, assessing before returning to the woman beside him. Enzo. He introduces himself simply, his voice a low rumble. His arm lies possessively around the waist of a slender woman with long dark hair and crystal blue eyes. I'm Sienna, she says softly. I search the room for Matteo, but he's nowhere to be seen. Please sit, Damiano says, gesturing to an empty chair between Evelyn and Lucrezia. I slide into the seat, grateful for the friendly buffer on either side. The table is set with fine china and crystal glasses that catch the light. 3 different forks line the left side of each plate, and I suddenly worry about using the wrong one, trying to recall my hotel training. Matteo will be joining us shortly, Damiano says to Enzo, as if reading my thoughts. He had to take a call. My stomach flips at the mention of his name. I reach for my water glass, needing something to do with my hands. So, Hazel, Zoe says, her voice gentle but direct. Evelyn tells us you're from Austin? Yes, I answer, setting down my glass. Born and raised. I've never been, Lucrezia chimes in. Is it as weird as they say? A small laugh escapes me. Parts of it, yes, but it's a beautiful city. And what did you do there? Enzo asks, his tone casual but his eyes sharp. I was a bartender, I say, deciding honesty is my best approach. At the Remington Hotel. Sienna tilts her head slightly. Was? I swallow hard. Yes, I got married. My husband didn't want me working. A heavy silence falls over the table. I can feel their eyes on me, searching for the things I'm not saying. And now you're here, Damiano states, his gaze intense. Yes. Before he can ask anything else, the dining room door opens and Matteo strides in. His dark eyes immediately find mine, and for a second I forget how to breathe. He's wearing a tailored navy suit that emphasizes his broad shoulders, and his face is set in hard lines. Sorry I'm late, he says, taking the empty seat across from me. Security issue at the casino. Nothing serious, I hope, Damiano says. Matteo shakes his head. Nothing we can't handle.
Chapter 11. Matteo. I take my seat across from Hazel, feeling the weight of the day settling into my shoulders. The casino security issue was minor, just a drunk tourist making threats. Here he is, our resident food snob, Noah says, smirking as he raises his wine glass. Did you have to send back the security guard's coffee because it wasn't single-origin Ethiopian? The table erupts in laughter. I roll my eyes but can't help the slight twitch of my lips. Noah's been giving me shit about my particular tastes since forever. Some of us have standards, Rivera, I fire back, reaching for the wine. The bottle is a Brunello di Montalcino. At least Damiano knows how to set a proper table. Standards? Noah snorts. Is that what we're calling it now? Remember when he made that chef in Miami cry because the risotto was, what did you call it, Matteo? An insult to my ancestors, I mutter, pouring myself a generous glass. An insult to my ancestors, Noah repeats with dramatic flair. The man nearly quit his job. Lucrezia giggles. It's not just food. Remember that girl in Milan who wore the wrong perfume? I thought Matteo was going to break out in hives. She smelled like a department store. I defend myself, feeling the familiar rhythm of family dinner banter washing over me. And her laugh was irritating. Matteo's the same with his women as he is with his food, Noah explains to Hazel, who's watching our exchange with wide eyes. Particular to the point of insanity. I look up then. directly into Hazel's eyes. Those eyes, hazel with amber flecks that catch the light. The same eyes that watched me with such intensity as I moved inside her. She looks away immediately, a flush creeping up her neck. Her fingers fidget with the stem of her untouched wine glass. I don't need to see her eyes to remember them. They've been burned into my memory for 3 years. The way they darkened when I touched her, how they squeezed shut when she came, how they softened in the aftermath. I memorized every detail of her face that night, catalogued every expression, every sound. "You're being uncharacteristically quiet, Matteo," Zoe observes, her perceptive gaze moving between Hazel and me. "Tough day?" I clear my throat. Nothing I couldn't handle. "The first course is here," Damiano announces as servers enter with plates of antipasti. The spread is impressive. Prosciutto di Parma, buffalo mozzarella, marinated artichokes, and olives imported from Sicily. I watch as Hazel eyes the food with uncertainty, hesitating before selecting an olive. She places it in her mouth carefully, and I find myself fixated on the movement of her lips. I remember how they felt against mine, soft and yielding. "Hazel," Damiano says, drawing my attention back to the conversation. "Evelyn tells me you're quite skilled behind a bar." She swallows quickly. I wouldn't say skilled exactly, just experienced. "Don't be modest," Evelyn jumps in. "Hazel could make anything. She worked at one of the top hotels in Austin." "Perhaps you could mix us cocktails sometime," Lucrezia suggests brightly, oblivious to the undercurrent. "I've been trying to perfect my Negroni for ages." Hazel smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. "I'd be happy to." I watch her as she picks at the antipasti, selecting a piece of prosciutto with careful fingers. She wraps it around a small chunk of melon, the way Italians have done for centuries. Her movements are precise, almost delicate. She's trying hard not to draw attention to herself. 3 years ago, those same fingers dug into my shoulders, my back, my ass. I remember how she gripped me like I was the only thing keeping her from flying apart. The memory sends heat rushing through me, settling low in my gut. She takes a bite, and a tiny drop of melon juice catches at the corner of her mouth. Her tongue darts out to catch it, pink and quick. Fuck. I shift in my seat, thankful for the tablecloth hiding my growing problem. "The wine is excellent, Damiano," Enzo says, breaking through my thoughts. "Brunello?" 2010, Damiano confirms. A good year. I take another sip, barely tasting it. Hazel reaches for her glass, and I notice the slight tremble in her hand. She's nervous. I wonder if she's remembering too, the way I took her against that kitchen table, how I licked her in the elevator, then again in my suite. How many times did she come that night? 4? 5? I lost count. I imagine bending her over this very table, hiking up that green dress, tearing away whatever's underneath. Would she be as responsive now as she was then? Would she still cry out my name when she comes? "So, Hazel," Noah says, "how long do you think you'll be staying with us?" She looks up, startled. I'm not sure. I don't want to impose." "Nonsense," Lucrezia interrupts. "You're welcome for as long as you need." "Thank you," Hazel murmurs, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. I drain my wine glass and reach for the bottle again. This is going to be a long fucking dinner. "Matteo will be handling your security while you're here," Damiano says casually, as if he's not just dropped a bomb at the table. Hazel's eyes widen, darting to me then quickly away. I don't think I need..." "It's not up for discussion," Damiano cuts in, his tone gentle but firm. "Everyone in this house has security, standard procedure." She nods, looking down at her plate. I can practically see her mind racing, trying to figure out how to handle being stuck with me. I imagine all the ways I could get her alone, the conversations we could have in private, the way I could back her against a wall, lift her up, and remind her exactly what she walked away from 3 years ago. How I could make her admit she remembers every moment of that night. I'm so focused on her that I almost miss the feeling of being watched. When I look up, Lucrezia's eyes are locked on mine, moving between Hazel and me with calculated interest. A knowing smirk spreads across her face and my stomach drops. Shit. Lucrezia has always been too perceptive for her own good. She tilts her head slightly, raising an eyebrow in silent question. I keep my face neutral, but it's too late. She's figured something out. Maybe not everything, but enough. She leans forward, that smirk still playing on her lips. Hazel, has anyone given you a proper tour of the house yet? I'd be happy to show you around after dinner. That's very kind, Hazel says, clearly relieved to have someone's attention other than mine. Actually, Lucrezia continues, her eyes sliding back to me with mischief, Matteo knows this place better than anyone. Since he's handling your security, maybe he should do the honors. Fuck. I'm going to kill her. Actually, Evelyn cuts in, leaning forward with a tight smile, I already promised to show Hazel around after dinner. I've been looking forward to it all day. The tension at the table shifts. Evelyn's eyes flit between Lucrezia and me, her protective instincts clearly kicking in. She knows something's off, even if she doesn't know exactly what. I take another sip of wine, grateful for the interruption. The last thing I need is Lucrezia playing matchmaker when I'm trying to figure out whether Hazel is a threat. Ginevra brings out the main course, carbonara. The creamy, rich aroma fills the air, but I barely notice. My mind is too busy cataloging the possibilities. Maybe this is just a coincidence. The world is full of them. This isn't about wanting to fuck her again, though my body clearly disagrees. This is about determining if she's a threat. I've had plenty of women since her. None of them left me still thinking about them years later. But that's beside the point. The physical attraction is just muscle memory. My body recognizing something it enjoyed before. What matters now is whether she's here on purpose. Is she working for someone? But if that's the case, why pretend not to recognize me? Unless she's playing a longer game. And why does she need protection? From whom? I need to get her alone, away from Evelyn's watchful eye. I need to figure out what her angle is before she can do any damage.
Hazel. I stare at my plate, pushing the perfectly al dente pasta around with my fork. Everyone at this table is watching me, some with curiosity, others with suspicion, especially Matteo. Every time I feel his gaze on me, my skin heats and my stomach tightens with memories I should have buried years ago. Would you like more wine, Hazel? Zoe asks, already reaching for the bottle. Just a little, thank you. I need something to steady my nerves. Now Matteo's going to be my security detail. The universe has a sick sense of humor. I take a sip of wine, hoping it will calm the storm inside me. Instead, it just reminds me of that night in Austin. The taste of alcohol on his lips as he kissed me. The way his hands felt on my skin. How he looked at me like I was something precious and dangerous all at once. What I need to be doing is figuring out what to do about Elliot. He's probably already discovered I'm gone. He'll be tracking my credit cards, calling everyone I know. I need to contact a lawyer, file for divorce, make sure my family is protected. Instead, my traitorous mind keeps replaying moments from 3 years ago. Matteo feeding me lobster in that hotel kitchen, his mouth on my neck, the way he whispered in my ear as he moved inside me. I glance up and catch him watching me again. His eyes are dark, unreadable. Matteo, Damiano says, you were in Austin for that meeting with the Rodriguez family, weren't you? My heart stops. I focus intently on my plate, afraid my face will give everything away. 3 years ago, Matteo corrects, his voice smooth and controlled, just passing through. 3 years ago, so he does remember. The exact timing, just passing through. This is how he sees what happened between us. A convenient stop along the way. Small world, Noah comments, glancing between us. You have no idea, I think. I force a smile as conversation flows around me. Damiano and Enzo are discussing some business matter I don't bother trying to understand while Zoe and Lucrezia debate the merits of a new restaurant downtown. I'm grateful for the momentary shift of attention away from me. The tiramisu here is incredible, Evelyn says, leaning toward me. Trust me, save room. I nod, though food is the last thing on my mind. My thoughts keep circling between my current predicament with Elliot and the man sitting across from me who's pretending we've never met. Elliot will be furious by now. I imagine him pacing our bedroom making calls. The cameras throughout our house will have recorded my departure, the moment I walked out with just one small bag. He'll have reviewed the footage a dozen times, scrutinizing my every move. My hand trembles slightly as I reach for my water glass. Elliot was always so particular about sex. He approached it like he did everything else in his life, methodical, controlling, focused on his own pleasure. In the beginning, I'd tried to guide him, to show him what I liked. He didn't take the suggestion well. "What's wrong with how I'm doing it?" he demanded, pulling away from me. "My ex never complained." After that, I learned to fake it, to make the right sounds, to clench my muscles at the right moment, to tell him how good it felt. It was easier than dealing with his wounded ego and subsequent sulking. Sex became another performance in a marriage filled with them. Damiano clears his throat, drawing everyone's attention. Tomorrow, I'll need Matteo with me for that meeting with the commissioner. His voice carries the easy authority of someone used to being obeyed. "Daniel will be available if you need to go anywhere, Hazel." I straighten in my chair. "Actually, I will need to go somewhere in the morning, if that's okay." "Of course," Damiano says with a nod. "Daniel will be at your disposal." Daniel, the tall security man with the buzzed haircut, gives me a curt nod from his position near the door. "I'll wait for you after breakfast, Mrs. Montgomery." The name makes me flinch. I haven't been thinking of myself as Mrs. Montgomery since I stepped on that plane. Hearing it now feels like Elliot has somehow found me. "Just Hazel, please," I say, my voice smaller than I intended. Evelyn reaches over to squeeze my hand. "I'll come with you," she says, her voice warm with support. I wait for someone to ask where I'm going or why. With Elliot, I couldn't even go to the grocery store without explaining my exact route, what I planned to buy, and how long I'd be gone. But no one here questions me. The absence of interrogation feels strange, almost unsettling in its unfamiliarity. "Thank you," I say, glancing around the table. These people, these dangerous people, are giving me more support and freedom than my husband ever did. I need to get a phone. I need a way to contact my family, to let them know I'm safe without revealing where I am. And I need a lawyer, someone who can help me file for divorce and navigate the mess that's coming. "You okay?" Evelyn whispers. I nod, although I'm anything but okay. Tomorrow I'll start taking back control of my life, one step at a time. Chapter 12. Hazel. The law office of Maria Ginelli sits on the 32nd floor of a sleek Manhattan high-rise. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcase the city sprawling beneath us, but I barely notice the view. My hands twist nervously in my lap as I sit beside Evelyn on a leather couch, facing the imposing mahogany desk where Ms. Gianelli reviews my situation. Daniel waits outside in the hallway, giving us privacy while maintaining his watchful position. "So, let me make sure I understand correctly," Ms. Gianelli says, her dark eyes sharp with intelligence. She's striking, tall with olive skin and sleek black hair pulled into a tight bun. "You've left your husband of 2 years, Elliot Montgomery, CEO of Montgomery Industries, due to ongoing physical and emotional abuse." I nod, my throat tight. "Yes." "And you've brought no documentation of this abuse? No police reports, hospital records, photographs?" "I have these," I say quietly, pulling up my sleeve to reveal the finger-shaped bruises on my forearm. "And more. But no, I never reported anything." Ms. Gianelli's expression softens slightly. "May I?" she asks, gesturing to my arm. When I nod, she comes around her desk and examines the bruises, her touch professional and gentle. "These are clearly finger marks. Recent. 2 days ago," I confirm, "before I left." She returns to her seat, making notes in an elegant leather portfolio. "Mrs. Montgomery." "Taylor," I interrupt. Please call me Hazel Taylor." She nods, understanding in her eyes. "Ms. Taylor, I won't sugarcoat this. Divorcing a man of your husband's wealth and influence will be challenging. Montgomery Industries is a Fortune 500 company with considerable resources at their disposal." "I don't want his money," I say quickly. "I just want out." "It's rarely that simple," Ms. Gianelli replies, "especially when abuse is involved. Men like Elliot Montgomery don't relinquish control easily." Evelyn leans forward. "Damiano said you're the best. That's why we're here." At the mention of Damiano's name, something shifts in Ms. Gianelli's demeanor, a subtle straightening of her spine, a new attentiveness. "Don Feretti has been a valuable client for many years," she says carefully. "If he sent you to me, then you'll have my full attention and resources. But that doesn't mean it is going to be easy." The way she says Don makes it clear she knows exactly who and what Damiano is. I wonder how many times she's helped the Feretti family navigate legal troubles, extricated them from criminal prosecution via some smart legal maneuvering. "Here's what we need to do immediately," Ms. Gianelli continues, "all business now. First, we document those bruises professionally. I'll have a medical examiner I trust meet us at my private office this afternoon." She opens a drawer and pulls out a sleek smartphone still in its packaging. "Second, you need a secure phone that your husband can't track. This is a burner with a new number. It's clean, but don't use it to contact anyone from your previous life just yet. I've talked with Mr. Feretti regarding this." I take the phone, surprised by her preparedness. "Thank you." "Third, we file for an emergency restraining order. With photographic evidence of your injuries and your testimony, we should be able to secure that quickly." "What about my family?" I ask, the worry that's been gnawing at me since I fled Austin bubbling to the surface. "My parents, my brother. Elliot controls everything. My mom's job, my dad's medical care, Jake's scholarship." Ms. Gianelli's eyes narrow. "Financial abuse is often overlooked but equally damaging. We'll need to document how he's used financial control to isolate you." "He'll hurt them to get to me," I whisper. "Not if we move quickly and strategically," Ms. Gianelli assures me. "I assume you've taken steps to ensure he can't trace you here?" "I only used cash," I confirm, "and I left my phone behind." "Good. Now, regarding your assets." "I don't have any," I interrupt. "Everything's in his name. The house, the cars, the bank accounts. I only have what I managed to save secretly, about $8,000 in cash." Ms. Gianelli makes another note. "We'll file for temporary spousal support along with the divorce petition. Given the circumstances and the disparity in your financial situations, the court should be sympathetic." Evelyn places her hand over mine. "And in the meantime, you're staying with us." Damiano was very clear about that. The lawyer nods approvingly. "That's good. You need a secure location he can't access. Now, let's talk about the divorce filing itself." She pulls out several forms and places them in front of me. "We'll cite irreconcilable differences publicly, but privately document the abuse for the judge's eyes only. This protects you from immediate retaliation while we're building our case." I stare at the papers, overwhelmed by what lies ahead. How long will this take? Honestly, it depends on how hard he fights it. A contested divorce with someone of his resources could take a year or more. A year. The thought makes me sick. A year of looking over my shoulder. A year of fearing for my family. A year of not being truly free. "But," Ms. Gianelli continues, her voice clipped, "the restraining order will provide immediate legal protection, and—" She hesitates, choosing her words carefully. "Having the Feretti family's support offers certain practical advantages that most of my clients don't enjoy." I understand what she's not saying. Mafia protection means something in this city. "What do I need to do right now?" I ask, ready to take the first step. Ms. Gianelli slides the forms toward me. "Start by telling me everything, every incident, every threat, every control tactic. Leave nothing out. The more ammunition I have, the stronger our position." I take a deep breath and begin to unpack the nightmare of my marriage, one painful memory at a time.
Matteo. My head pounds like someone's applying a jackhammer to my skull. That's what I get for mixing bourbon with scotch last night. Not my finest decision, but sleep wouldn't come after seeing Hazel at dinner. Hazel fucking Taylor, sitting at the Feretti table like she belonged there. I rub my temples, sitting in my car outside the casino after wrapping up the meeting. The sun's too bright, slicing through the windshield despite my sunglasses. I need coffee and aspirin. Maybe in an IV drip. Damiano's words from last night keep circling in my head. She needs protection while she gets her divorce sorted out. Divorce? So she got married. After me. I grab my phone and dial Daniel. "Everything good?" I ask when he picks up, keeping my voice neutral despite the throbbing behind my eyes. "All clear," Daniel responds, his voice low. "Still in the lawyer's office. Been there almost 2 hours now." I check my watch. "That long? What the hell are they discussing?" "Not my business to know," Daniel says, ever the professional. "I know Gianelli. She's sharp as a tack and ruthless in court. Damiano wouldn't send Hazel to her unless the situation was serious. What the hell is going on?" "What's the plan after?" I ask, starting the car. "Taking them to meet Lucrezia at some cafe she picked. Said she wanted girl time with the new guest." Lucrezia and her girl time. More like Lucrezia wanting to satisfy her curiosity about our mysterious visitor. Nothing happens in that house without Lucrezia knowing every detail. "Which cafe?" I ask, pulling into traffic. Daniel names a place in Soho, one of Lucrezia's favorites. Overpriced lattes and enough privacy for sensitive conversations. After hanging up, I sit at a red light, drumming my fingers against the steering wheel. Married. Hazel got married. To some asshole she's now running from. The light turns green and I accelerate a little too hard, earning a honk from the idiot in the car beside me. My headache intensifies along with my darkening mood. "What the hell happened to you, Hazel?"
Chapter 13. Hazel. I step out of the sleek black car with Evelyn right behind me, my legs still shaky from the intense meeting with Maria Gianelli. The weight of what I'm doing, divorcing Elliot, sits heavy in my chest, but there's something else there too. Relief, hope, maybe. "This is one of Lucrezia's favorite spots," Evelyn says, guiding me toward a cafe nestled between upscale boutiques. The cafe is nothing like the places I used to frequent. Everything about it screams high-end designer taste. From the huge silvery espresso machine spouting steam behind the counter to the plush velvet boudoir chairs. Crystal pendant lights hang from the ceiling, casting a warm glow over marble-top tables. The combined scent of buttery pastries and rich coffee fills the air. A Taylor Swift song plays softly in the background. Clean, I think. The lyrics about washing someone out of your hair hit a little too close to home right now. There she is. Evelyn points to a corner table where Lucrezia sits, scrolling through her phone. Lucrezia spots us and waves, her dark hair falling in perfect waves around her shoulders. She's dressed in what looks like casual wear for her. Jeans and a silky blouse. Daniel takes up a position near the entrance, scanning the room with dominating efficiency. "I already ordered for us," Lucrezia says as we approach. "The lavender lattes here are divine." I slide into the seat across from her, taking in the small vase of fresh wildflowers on the table, the heavy vintage silverware, the overall sense of elite security this place seems to offer. It's worlds away from the coffee shops where Elliot would meet business associates, places where I'd sit silently beside him, careful not to speak unless spoken to. "How did it go with Maria?" Lucrezia asks, her eyes glinting with interest. "She's intense," I admit, running my finger along the cool marble tabletop. "But I think she'll help me." "Maria doesn't take cases she can't win," Lucrezia says with confidence. "And she especially enjoys taking down powerful men who think they're untouchable." A server approaches with a tray of steaming mugs topped with delicate foam art. As I wrap my hands around the warm ceramic, I realize this is the first time in a while I've been with girls at a cafe without Elliot being around. I take a sip of the lavender latte, the sweet floral notes melting on my tongue. It's delicious, but I barely register the taste as my mind races with everything that's happened since I fled Austin. "So," I say, setting down the mug and turning to Evelyn. I've been so caught up in my own drama that I haven't even asked about you. It appears you've been having some adventures these past few years. Did I really say that with an edge of snark? I didn't mean to, and I see Evelyn is disconcerted. Evelyn's fingers tense around her cup. Well, things have changed quite a bit for me, too. Are you still touring? Last I heard, you were heading to Europe for some prestigious concert series. I remember how proud our family had been when Evelyn was invited to perform with the Vienna Philharmonic. She'd been playing violin since forever, destined for greatness from the moment she first picked up the instrument. Evelyn exchanges a quick glance with Lucrezia before answering. Actually, I've taken a break from performing. A rather extended one. What? But you love playing. You've always loved it. I opened a bookshop instead, she says, a small smile forming on her lips. In the village. I nearly choke on my coffee. A bookshop? You, the girl who practiced violin 8 hours a day and dreamed of Carnegie Hall since kindergarten? Life takes unexpected turns, Evelyn says with a shrug that seems too casual. I needed something different. Something quieter. I study her face, noting the shadows that cross her eyes when she mentions her former career. There's a story there, something painful she's not sharing. But you do still play? I ask gently. Her fingers twitch slightly, as if remembering the feel of strings beneath them. Not really. Number, not anymore. Lucrezia reaches over and squeezes Evelyn's hand, a gesture so natural it speaks of a deep friendship I hadn't realized existed between them. The bookshop is wonderful, Lucrezia says. You should visit it while you're here. It has this perfect reading nook by the window. I nod, accepting the clear change of subject. I understand boundaries better than most. Since living with Elliot, I've become an expert at reading when topics are off limits. I'd love to see it, I say. I haven't had much time to read lately. I bet, Evelyn says, her expression softening. How's Uncle Jim doing? I heard his back surgery went well. Dad's better. The surgery helped a lot. I hesitate, not wanting to mention that Elliot paid for everything, that my father's medical care is one of the golden handcuffs keeping me tied to my marriage. But that's why I managed to leave eventually. Since the surgery went well, anything else will be solved as soon as I can work again to provide financial help to them. He's even talking about fishing again. The conversation drifts to safer topics. My brother Jake's college plans, Evelyn's favorite books to recommend to customers, Lucrezia's painting. But I can't stop wondering what happened to make Evelyn abandon her lifelong passion. She was always the dedicated one, the focused one. The violin wasn't just something she did, it was who she was. And then there's the other question burning in my mind. How did my classical musician cousin end up involved with a Mafia family? I wait until Lucrezia excuses herself to the restroom before leaning closer to Evelyn. Can I ask you something? I keep my voice muted, even though Daniel is positioned too far away to overhear. Of course, Evelyn says, stirring her coffee. How did you... I struggle to find the right words. How did you get connected with the Ferettis? I mean, they seem nice and all, but they're... dangerous? Evelyn supplies with a wry smile. Criminals? I nod, relieved she's not offended. Evelyn glances toward the restroom door, then back at me. It's complicated, Hazel. When I stopped performing, I was in a bad situation. Really bad. Her voice drops to a distracted whisper. I made some mistakes, trusted the wrong person. Noah helped me when no one else would or could. I want to ask more. What kind of trouble was she in? What happened that was so terrible she gave up the violin? But I recognize the haunted look in her eyes. It's the same one I see in the mirror. I get it, I say instead. Sometimes we end up in places we never expected. Exactly. Evelyn reaches across the table to squeeze my hand. Life rarely follows the path we plan, but sometimes the detours lead us somewhere better. I'm not sure I believe that yet, but I want to. I need to. Lucrezia returns, sliding gracefully back into her seat. What did I miss? Just catching up on family stuff, Evelyn says smoothly. I take another sip of latte, watching them over the rim of the mug. There's more to Evelyn's story, much more, but for now, I'm just grateful she's here. That she instantly understood what I needed when I called her in desperation from Elliot's bathroom. Some questions can wait. Right now, I'm just trying to breathe through one day at a time. I'm about to take another sip when Evelyn suddenly straightens in her chair, her eyes widening. "Hazel, did you call home yet?" she asks, alarm creeping into her voice. The mug freezes halfway to my lips. "What?" "Your family." "Have you called them since you left?" Evelyn's expression grows increasingly concerned. "They need to know you're safe." My stomach drops. The lawyer's words come rushing back to me. The warnings about Elliot, about protecting my family. In the whirlwind of escaping and meeting with Maria, I'd completely... Number. That's not true. I didn't forget. I know she's right. I've known it all along. But the thought of hearing my mother's voice, of having to explain why I ran, of possibly learning that Elliot has already started making their lives hell, it makes my chest tighten until I can barely breathe. What if he's already been there? I whisper, voicing my deepest fear. What if he's already taken everything away from them? Evelyn reaches across the table and takes my hand. That's exactly why you need to call. They deserve to hear from you first. I nod, knowing she's right. With a shaking hand, I reach into my purse and pull out the sleek black phone Maria gave me earlier. It looks nothing like my rose gold iPhone that Elliot monitored constantly. "I'll give you some privacy," Lucretia says, standing up. "I need another pastry anyway." Evelyn squeezes my forearm once more before following Lucrezia to the counter, leaving me alone at the table with the phone feeling impossibly heavy in my palm. I stare at the keypad. My mother's number is so familiar I could dial it in my sleep. But my fingers won't move. What will I say? How do I explain that I've left my husband, that I'm filing for divorce, that everything I've sacrificed for the past 2 years might have been for nothing? Daniel shifts his position near the door, his eyes constantly scanning the cafe, the street through the window. His presence reminds me that I'm not just hiding from an angry husband. I'm hiding from a dangerous man, a man who might right now be standing in my parents' living room, demanding they tell him where I am. I take a deep breath and dial. Each ring feels like an eternity. My heart bangs so loudly I'm sure everyone in the cafe can hear the drumbeat of fear. What if Elliot answers? What if he's there right now? What if... Hello? My mother's voice. "Mom?" My voice cracks on that single syllable.
Matteo. I step out of the shower, steam billowing around me as I grab a towel from the rack. My muscles ache in that satisfying way that only comes after pushing them to their limits. 2 hours in the mansion's gym, boxing, weights, and a punishing core routine has helped burn off some of the restless energy that's been plaguing me since last night. Since seeing her again. I wipe condensation from the mirror and stare at my reflection. The man looking back at me is tougher than the one Hazel knew in Austin. More scars. More blood on his hands. I dress quickly in dark jeans and a black Henley, rolling the sleeves up to my elbows. My stomach growls, reminding me I haven't eaten since breakfast. I check my phone. No messages from Daniel about Hazel, which means everything's going according to plan. Still, the lack of an update irritates me. The mansion is quiet as I make my way downstairs. Damiano's at the office, Zoe's at some charity committee meeting, and Lucrezia's with Hazel. The only sound is the distant clatter of pots and pans from the kitchen. I follow the noise and the mouth-watering aroma of garlic and herbs. Ettore, our chef, stands at the massive center island, muttering to himself in rapid Italian as he chops something with meticulous expertise. Whatever that is, I want some, I announce as I enter. Ettore looks up, his round face breaking into a grin. Matteo, perfect timing. I need a test subject. I raise an eyebrow as I slide onto one of the bar stools at the island. Test subject sounds dangerous. Bah! He waves the razor-sharp knife dismissively. For you, maybe I should try poison, eh? Save some poor woman from your charm. I smirk at the familiar banter. Ettore's been cooking for the family since before I joined, and he's one of the few people who treats me like a normal human being rather than Damiano's enforcer. "What are you making?" I ask, eyeing the array of ingredients spread across the marble countertop. "Something new for Friday's dinner." He gestures proudly to a pan where golden parcels of pasta are arranged in neat rows. "Cappellacci di zucca con salvia e burro nocciola." "Pumpkin cappellacci with sage and brown butter," I translate automatically. My stomach rumbles in anticipation. "Not just any pumpkin," Ettore corrects, wagging a flour-dusted finger at me. "Special heirloom variety from my cousin's farm in Emilia-Romagna, imported last week." Of course, nothing but the best for the Feretti table. Ettore slides a plate toward me with 3 of the plump pasta parcels, drizzled with glistening brown butter and topped with crispy sage leaves. The rich, nutty aroma makes my mouth water instantly. "Tell me what you think," he demands, crossing his arms over his chest. "Be honest." I cut into one of the cappellacci with the side of a fork. The pasta yields, revealing a vibrant orange filling. I take a bite and close my eyes as the flavors hit my tongue. Sweet, earthy pumpkin balanced with the sharp tang of aged Parmigiano, wrapped in silky al dente pasta and bathed in nutty brown butter. "Cristo," I mutter after swallowing. "That's incredible." Ettore beams with pride. "You think the Don will approve?" "If he doesn't, I'll personally handle his removal as head of the family, then report him to the Culinary Institute," I joke, already cutting into the second piece. I'm halfway through demolishing the 3rd cappellacci when the kitchen door swings open. Lucrezia's voice floats in first, followed by light laughter that stops me mid-chew. And then Noah actually tried to convince the waiter it was a traditional Italian custom. Hazel's laughter, bright and unguarded, sounds like a fucking virtuoso melody. I look up just as they enter, and for a split second, I catch sight of her smiling. It transforms her face completely, softening the wariness I've seen since she arrived. She looks younger, lighter. Then her eyes land on me. The smile vanishes instantly. Her shoulders tense, and she takes an almost imperceptible step back, like a prey animal spotting a predator. Fuck. I force myself to continue eating, stabbing the pasta with more force than necessary. "Matteo," Lucrezia says, surprise evident in her voice. "I thought you'd be at the casino all day." I swallow before answering. "Finished early." Lucrezia rolls her eyes at my brevity, then turns to Hazel. "Don't mind him. He communicates primarily in grunts and glares." Hazel's lips twitch, but she doesn't smile again. Her eyes flick to me, then away, like she can't bear to look at me for more than a second. "What are you eating?" Lucrezia asks, moving closer to peer at my plate. "Ettore's new creation for Friday," I answer, gesturing toward the chef who's watching our interaction with undisguised interest. "Pumpkin cappellacci." "Ladies," Ettore exclaims, wiping his hands on his apron. "Perfect timing. You must taste this." Hazel hesitates, glancing between Lucrezia and me. "I wouldn't want to impose." "Impose?" Ettore looks personally offended. "A beautiful woman eating my food could never be an imposition. Sit, sit." He gestures emphatically to the stools beside me. Lucrezia immediately takes one, leaving the seat next to me for Hazel. I can practically feel her reluctance as she slowly approaches and perches one thigh on the far edge of the stool, keeping as much distance between us as possible. I continue eating in silence, hyper-aware of her presence, the faint scent of lavender, the way she tucks her hair behind her ear, the careful way she holds herself. The kitchen feels 10 degrees warmer with her this close. Ettore places plates in front of both women with a flourish. "Buon appetito." "This smells amazing," Hazel says politely. I watch from the corner of my eye as she takes her first bite. Despite her obvious discomfort, her eyes widen in surprise, and a small sound of appreciation escapes her. "Fuck." "Oh my God," she murmurs. "That's incredible." Ettore beams. "You see?" Food speaks its own language, no translation needed. Lucrezia launches into a story about Ettore's legendary Christmas feast last year, filling the awkward silence. I focus on my plate, but every cell in my body remains attuned to Hazel's body beside me. She eats slowly, savoring each bite, her tongue caressing her lip. But I notice she never fully relaxes. The carefree woman laughing with Lucrezia moments ago has disappeared. Because of me. I drain my water glass, needing something to do with my hands. The 3 Capellacci are gone, and I'm tempted to ask for more just to have an excuse to stay. Which is fucking ridiculous. I've never been the type to linger awkwardly where I'm not wanted. "How was your meeting with Maria?" I ask abruptly, surprising even myself. Hazel's fork pauses halfway to her mouth. Her eyes meet mine briefly before darting away. "It was informative," she says carefully. "Maria's the best," Lucrezia adds. "If anyone can handle Hazel's situation, it's her." I nod, searching for something else to say that won't sound like an interrogation. "Daniel said everything went smoothly." "Yes," Hazel confirms, her voice quiet. An uncomfortable silence falls. Lucrezia glances between us, her brow furrowing slightly. I force myself to look away from Hazel, staring down at my empty plate instead. The silence stretches uncomfortably between us. But not with Lucrezia watching us like we're her favorite reality show. "So," Lucrezia says, clearly trying to ease the tension, "Hazel, I was thinking tomorrow we could—" A soft chime interrupts her. Hazel reaches into her pocket and pulls out a phone. She glances at the screen and something shifts in her expression. The wariness fades, replaced by a small but genuine smile that lights up her eyes. Her fingers move quickly across the screen as she types a response. Fuck me. Is that why she's getting divorced? Some other man? Not that I care who she's fucking. Not my business. Not my problem. I stand abruptly, the stool scraping against the floor. Both women look up, startled by the sudden movement. "Thanks for the taste test, Ettore," I call over my shoulder, already heading for the door. "Best Capellacci I've ever had." I feel Hazel's eyes on my back as I walk away, but I don't look back. Whatever game she's playing, I'll figure it out. Just not now. Not when seeing her smile at a text from some other man makes me want to put my fist through a wall. As I push through the kitchen door, I hear Lucrezia's voice behind me. "Don't mind him. He's always like that." I don't wait to hear Hazel's response.
Want the full story? If you're a YouTube member, you can listen to the complete audiobook right now. Not a member? No problem. It will be available publicly soon. Or, if you prefer not to wait, head over to www.rosanthepublishing.com and download it today. Just use the code YT25 for a 25% discount. Please share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more audiobooks. Thanks for listening.